Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Welcome to the Woodward Sports Detroit Lions pregame show, brought to you by Swiss Insurance. I'm your host for today, Jeff Iafrate. Alongside me, Tom Mazawey.
Hey, Jeff.
How you doing today, Tom?
Freak, man. It's this NFL Sunday. It's a playoff weekend. It's phenomenal. Lions got a chance to do something they haven't done in 5 or 6 years. So
doesn't that feel great?
It does.
And you know what's funny, too? It's the first time of the season we're doing a show for Sunday night football.
We waited all year for Sunday night.
I can get used to those words. Joining us as well, Booner from the Booner Sports Show. Our guy has been here multiple shows.
Yep.
This is the OG crew. I mean, in the booth, we have our guy Sam Flannel on the ones and twos, and as always, helping us out today, Fletch. Stepping in. Coming in.
He better get
from
gas
the reserves.
Money.
Yeah, you better get some gas money, Fletch. Appreciate
money.
you coming and helping us out, man. Today we have a packed show, plenty to discuss, plenty to preview. Right now we have the Rams and Seahawks game on currently, and we just witnessed the dropped interception, took the air out of the room, but it's still 6-6 right now, almost to halftime. But we're not only going to talk about this game, Mass. We got plenty to talk about. Before we get into it, I do want to say this. This meeting tonight, it'll be the 187th meeting between the Lions and the Pack. Green Bay holding a whopping 105-74.
Are you shocked?
And 7. No, I'm not shocked. Advantage over
Lions
Detroit.
trail and everything usually.
Yes.
They did have the edge on the Jets and Giants, though, which was good earlier in the year.
See, wasn't that refreshing
to
hear
refreshing.
those?
And the Jags.
The Lions have won the last 2 meetings, including, as you guys watched at Ford Field, a 15-9 victory where Aaron Rodgers threw the ball into our secondary's hands 3 times. Well, actually, one into Aiden Hutchinson's hands in Week 8 at Ford Field. But again, guys, this game tonight, both these teams are very different. At the time, I mean, the Packers were struggling early in the season. The Lions were 1-6. And that win for the Lions, as ugly as it was, Maz, propelled them into a magnificent run. But the Packers are also on a 4-game winning streak. So we get 2 different teams tonight squaring off at Lambeau Field.
I think it's 2 teams almost peaking at the same time. Lions took a step back, obviously, when they fell to the Panthers, which was a horrible game. I still don't understand what happened in that game. But hopefully tonight they can forget about that, just go out and win. Obviously, we're all rooting for Seattle right now. We're live. We'll keep you posted throughout the night. If Seattle loses and the Lions win, they're in. Even if Seattle wins, the Lions have a chance to do something to Aaron Rodgers they haven't done, I don't think, ever. Have they ever, Booner, knocked the Packers out of a playoff?
At least in my time, I'm young. I don't think that's ever happened in my time.
Let's before the Super Bowl era, maybe, but not after the Super Bowl era.
Yeah, especially Sunday Night Football. I know we have some stats too. The Sunday Night Football that's been going around all week long, the 1-8.
Yep.
And which is crazy, but it just, to me, the Sunday Night Football Packers game tonight feels completely different. I talked about it with Easy this week. It's just a completely different feeling than any other regime that we've seen going into a game like this. Completely different. So I'm excited. I'm really excited for this game.
Flannel, what's your take on this one early here in this pregame show?
It's gonna be. These are 2 teams that were dead and buried just a few weeks ago. I mean, the Lions.
A few times.
Yeah, the Lions started 1-6. The Packers started 4-8, and now they are meeting with, for the Packers, everything at stake, and for the Lions, possibly everything at stake. The way the Seahawks-Rams game is going, I'm pretty confident that the Rams can pull it out. But it's a testament to both teams. It's an good old-fashioned NFC North matchup for all the marbles. And it's in previous years, I would be more worried about the Packers, but this is arguably the worst Packers team with Aaron Rodgers at quarterback, and this is the best Lions team in many, many years. Yeah. So this is a pick'em game to me.
Well, Davante Adams, I think, is the real difference here.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. If you give Davante Adams right now to the Packers, they're the same Packer team that's won 13 games the last 3 years. I truly believe that, and what I see in them is a team that's starting to wake up, running the ball, because that's what they bring the bacon home with. Mm-hmm. They run the ball. Aaron Jones runs the ball, and he's looking like the old Aaron Jones. Just like I said earlier this week on our afternoon show, DeAndre Swift is starting to look like the kid that they drafted out of Georgia a few years ago. He's starting to get that look So these running backs, when they start to get going, these guys, they don't have a lot of tread on the tires because of all the injuries. But they're starting to roll now. You got Aaron Rodgers on one side, Jared Goff on the other side. Your receivers are starting to wake up. Amon-Ra St. Brown's had a great year, a phenomenal year. You still got Josh Reynolds. You got, who did we sign? DJ Chark, who I think could actually maybe come back next year. And I think you're going to see something at J-Mo today. I think Jameson Williams, I think they're going to unwrap their toy again tonight. That's my prediction.
Matt, to your point, you brought up just a second ago, too, how hot the Packers are. I don't know if any of you guys saw Rex Ryan on the show this week kind of go in about all week. Everyone has just been talking about how Aaron Rodgers and this Packers team has been super, super hot, how they've turned things around, and it's just completely covered up that the Detroit Lions are 7-2 in their last 9 games. How hot that team is. And Rex Ryan came out and was like, it's unbelievable that Aaron Rodgers hasn't respected the Detroit Lions realistically the last 5 or 6 weeks. And no one in the media at this point now, everyone's just talking about the Packers. And they've moved on from the Lions, and they think it's a Packers game here. And the Lions are 7-2 in the last 9 games. That's something. Who cares about what the Packers have done? The Lions are 7-2.
They're talking about Aaron Rodgers, and really, as an Aaron Rodgers fan, the only one here in Detroit, I can tell you, watching him, he hasn't been great. His receivers are not great. They're not even close. Matter of fact, the Lions have a huge edge to me in wide receivers. So, Jeff, I don't know, man. I think this game's up for grabs, although the spread has jumped up a point. Am I not correct there on Boone?
The last I saw was 4.5. That's what I got. I got it at 4.5 this morning, though. I haven't checked since, so I'll have it up today.
And I'm a big movie guy, but not even Quentin Tarantino could have written a better script, at least for me as a Lions fan. And you guys mentioned, Booner kind of hit on it too, the comments by Aaron Rodgers. You kind of have this wrestling storyline going on. Obviously, there's animosity already there, but you saw Deshaun Elliott come out this week and talk to reporters. He's fired up. You got James Houston. These guys are all fired up for this matchup. They feel the disrespect. And again, we talk about Dan Campbell and the coach he is and his mentality. It does kind of circulate down or trickle down to the team. And they kind of embody the city with their mentality. And now you get to go to Lambeau and to shut up the Packers. And I do want to mention one stat too, because I'm kind of with you, Maz. I know people give Aaron Rodgers a lot of flack, including me, but I'm a big fan of his body of work.
Of course.
Like what he's done. You can't disrespect what the man has done. Now, attitude-wise, you could say what you want about him. But we'll talk about the Packers and how they've been winning lately. And I want to mention this because it hasn't just been Aaron Rodgers. I know people bring up Aaron Rodgers when you talk about the Packers winning 4 games in a row. Let's talk about that defense. 4th in the NFL in pass defense. On top of that, if you go back to their game that started it versus Chicago, they gave up 19 to Chicago, 12 to the Rams, 20 to the Dolphins, and 19 to the Vikings. Like, all you got to do is score more than 20, and you're 4-0. So their defense, they've had the talent. They lost Rashawn Gary early in the year, but we knew they were capable. Now you have Jair playing the best football of the season.
Challenging Jefferson and
shutting
him down.
And let me read you a stat, too. Packers over the last 4 games. You know how many turnovers they've forced in those 4 games?
Can I guess?
Yes.
6.
12.
Wow.
Double that. 12 turnovers in 4 games. Wow. This defense is playing the best football so far, and they're playing really all together. Keyshawn Nixon, I mean, he had a 93-yard return against the Dolphins. Do not kick to Keyshawn Nixon. Again, they have special teams, which the Packers, honestly, you watched last year in the playoffs, special teams is why they lost, along with Aaron Rodgers now playing well.
That's why they signed Rich Bisaccia from Oakland.
And
they brought him over from Vegas.
And he's helped a lot of those needs. So this Packers team is very different, but the Lions are very different. They're not the same old Lions. This is not even a new regime, but a new team. I mean, they play. We talk about being so close and Sheila coming out preaching patience. And now you're looking back and you're like, you know what? She was right.
Yep.
If the patience has paid off for this team, and they're one of the hottest teams in football. And I'm still going to say this, even after the Carolina game, nobody wants to play Detroit right now. Look how Aaron Rodgers, what he said about Detroit after that Packer game versus the Lions when he lost. And look what he just said last week.
Well,
I have a lot of respect for the Lions.
Well,
get out of here.
Of course, he had to change his tune, man. I mean, they're coming a long way, but guys, this game's in Lambeau. I mean, look at Jared Goff. It's a tale of 2 cities with Jared Goff. When he's home, he's phenomenal. When he's on the road, he's not so good. I know he got a lot of yards against Carolina, most of them junk at the end of he got over 300 yards, but come on. It was when they were chasing their own tail, man, at the end of the game.
Right.
He's not the same quarterback on the road. And a lot of guys wouldn't be the same quarterback when they're going to Lambeau Field, Boone.
Yeah, sorry, I do have the game here, and I just saw a big run. So I'm over here fighting for the playoffs here on my end, for us. But I'm with you on that, Maz. In the Lambeau, the atmosphere is obviously one thing, right? And us playing at Lambeau and the Detroit the last however long, forever it feels like with Aaron Rodgers. But I do look back, and obviously the cold Carolina game, we struggled there. But you have to look, too, in New York. We played in New York twice, outdoors. We won both of those games. That gives me hope there that, hey, these guys they've played outdoor games at MetLife. And to Maz, you're a New York guy.
Yeah.
I would say it's not
But what
similar
quarterbacks did they
atmosphere,
beat?
but the coldness, the feeling.
What quarterbacks did they beat?
Well,
I understand that,
okay.
but they did show that they can compete and they can dominate. Like versus that Giants, it's an outdoor game. It's a cold game. Is that a touchdown?
That's a touchdown.
As I started
Rams have
talking
the
to you, I
lead.
looked away.
To Atwell with the touchdown.
From?
Baker Mayfield.
Baker
I didn't want to say
Maz's
it.
guy.
To put the Rams up, it should be 13 after they kicked the extra point, 2-6 against the Seahawks.
About 30 seconds ago in the first half.
30 seconds ago in the first half. I want to ask you, Sam, because one thing I didn't mention, we talk about quarterback play. Aaron Rodgers, over the last 5 games, 6 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. The last 4 games, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jared Goff, though, last 8 games, 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. It's funny because they're almost playing like one another back in the day. Jared Goff turning the ball over. Now Jared Goff hasn't turned the ball over in 8 games. 0 interceptions. Sam Flannel, that quarterback play, man, you got to have confidence in Goff. I know it's on the road, but do you get a little nervous? Because the last time he threw an interception was against the Packers.
I mean, when you look at that 15-0 touchdown to interception ratio, it doesn't really matter the sample size. That is godlike. That is outer space level great. But the thing is with Jared Goff is most of his damage, like we've said before, has been at home. He wasn't terrible at Carolina. He wasn't bad at New York to play the Giants. He was a little shaky at the Jets. But if they were playing this game at home, I would be the utmost confident. The Lions have had all of their greatest offensive explosions at home. They scored 45 against Seattle, 41 against the Bears, 40 against Jacksonville. And on the road, the offense hasn't quite looked the same, and I think that would be their easiest pathway to victory if their offense shows up. But Jared Goff, on the season, he has had a better year than Aaron Rodgers. He has had his greatest stretch of football ever. 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and quite a big sample size. That is beyond phenomenal. And I don't worry about him as much going into Green Bay as maybe I would have a few weeks ago. He can play well. He can put up numbers. That offense can be elite. But Green Bay is a tough place to play, but I trust Jared Goff more and more as the weeks go on.
Well, we hope Ben Johnson has a good game plan here for this one.
Do you guys think, so, the biggest thing, and like Flannel Sam said, is we talked about how, like, if it's a home game that our offense would be explosive and that, but we all know going into this game, a defensive game, a running game, that's kind of how at least you look at it with Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon. We basically played that same exact game at Ford Field when we played the Packers last time, right? Like, it seemed like it was that type of game. So that's why I'm not too worried going into here is an away game at Lambeau. I think it's going to be a similar style game to what we saw at Ford Field a couple of weeks ago when we played them. And they already know how to win that game and pull it out.
No, big test for the Lions. We're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll talk about the challenges the Detroit Lions facing the Green Bay Packers. We'll see you guys after the break.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
It's a great day to get some Centron in your life. Okay. There it is. Centron, here we go. Gotta grab the cranberry. Oh wait, it's 2 for $4. Gotta double up with the classic as well. Centron World, baby. Centron, available at select Kroger's, and if you wanna know how, go to @CentronWorld.com. You get dope like me. You know what? Why wait? Great taste, guaranteed.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
I'm excited. I mean, our guys are excited. We just, these opportunities don't always come around, and it's, I think you go through these things in life, and you don't always know what they're going to be, but one day you're going to look back and say, man, you had these special moments that you were able to be a part of, and I try to tell those guys, you just don't know when those are going to come up or what it's going to mean, but I know this: when you're done playing, you miss the hell out of it, and this will be one of those moments I believe they'll always remember. This group, this team.
We're back. Woodward Sports, Detroit Lions pregame show, brought to you by Swiss Insurance. And those comments by Dan Campbell, by the way, courtesy of DetroitLions.com. He's been talking a lot about this game, obviously, this past week, and I've loved the way he's approached it. His mentality of basically like, hey, this is a big opportunity for these guys. Not as stressed out as you'd expect any coach to be in a big game, but he's just kind of like, hey, this is a big measuring stick for where these guys have developed, where they're going, and to kind of see where they're at right now is you have a big game, end of the year in Lambeau, facing a divisional rival for a team full of young guys, a lot of rookies starting, especially defensively. It's a huge measuring stick for him, man.
Hey, this is a playoff game, man. This is their first playoff game in 6 years, 5 seasons, whatever you want to call it. Win, lose, or draw. This is their chance. If Seattle winds up winning this game and they're really just playing for a winning record and to get in the playoffs, or if they have no chance of getting in the playoffs, they're just playing for a winning record and knock Green Bay out. This is a playoff game. This sweatshirt I have on is from the last time, I think it was from 2014. NFL playoffs it has on it. It's the last time the freaking Lions
looks good still.
Had a chance. All right, I'll bury this sweatshirt and buy the new one tomorrow if they make the playoffs.
Oh,
all right,
my God.
That's what I will do, Flannel. That's what I will do.
We'll be first in line for the playoff merch. Is that right, Sam?
Oh, 100%. And like I said, the Rams are doing us a favor right now. They have a 13-6 lead at halftime. And the thing about this Lions team, too, the fact that this is such a big game, the Lions are ahead of schedule. Most of the Lions' best players, or a lot of the Lions' best players, are young. They're rookies. They're second-year players. Guys like Penei Sewell, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, Malcolm Rodriguez, Kirby Joseph. They're getting that valuable experience playing in big games that I don't think people thought that they would get so soon in their careers. And we'll kind of see how they respond tonight, regardless of what happens. Regardless if the Rams or the Seahawks win, they have a chance to get a winning record. They have a chance to knock Aaron Rodgers out of the playoffs. And the Lions, if the score holds up in that Rams-Seahawks game, this is a win and they're in. And all these players are so young and they're only going to get better. I think that's why we are all so excited collectively as Lions fans, because this team is built. They're built to last. They're built to win right now, and they're built to get even better as the years go on.
I tell you that the guy that wasn't in that, 15-7, what would we beat the Packers?
15-9.
15-9. A guy that didn't play in that game. It's James Houston.
The problem.
The Packers are going to be introduced today to James Houston with Aiden Hutchinson on the other side. And, that second-round pick that they took last year as well from Kentucky,
Yep.
He's going to show up one of these days as well. That's, even if he doesn't, and it's another second-round bust, James Houston is more than making up for that, Boone.
Yeah, these guys, I mean, to your point too, Maz, before, is like, these guys want to win this game. They know how no matter what happens in this Rams game. Amon-Ra on his podcast here, I had a quote here that he came out and said, whether the Seahawks win or lose, we want to finish 9-8. We want to finish with a winning record, and at the same time, we want to knock the Packers out of the playoffs. These guys have that mentality. Dan Campbell's, we've seen it from Hard Knocks from day one. Like, he's put this mentality into these guys, even with the 1-6 start. To the fact just that they were 1-6 and are in this position shows that. And now going into this Packers game with a guy like James Houston, who has just been incredible the last 5 or 6 games. The mindset for these guys, to me, is incredible, no matter what happens today with this Rams game and in the game tonight.
And I want to make that clear, too, because I think we're so wrapped up in this game, and rightfully so, that we kind of forget all the progress the Lions have made this year, right? No matter what happens in this game tonight against the Packers, it doesn't discredit anything the Lions have done. Right, it is a big game because it's the deciding factor between a winning record or a losing record. I mean, that's obvious math. But on top of that, You look at everything this team has done this year and the run they've made, right? 7-2 after starting 1-6, just to be playing not even meaningful December football, Maz, but meaningful January football with a chance to get in. In a big part of that last week, coming off a big game, DeAndre Swift. I want to play this, Ben Johnson talking about DeAndre Swift, because if the Lions want to win tonight, you're going to want to see a lot of him.
You bet.
He's electric. Certainly felt that last game. It felt back to where he was when he started the season. So it'd be great to get that version of Swift again this week. And it makes it, like I said, a lot easier for us calling plays and staying on schedule.
Like I said, this guy is really, he's coming to play now. You could see it. And he is beast mode. Today is like an anniversary for a lot of great happenings in the NFL. One of them was when Marshawn Lynch ran through. Did you remember that
I
touchdown?
saw that play today.
That was the
incredible.
Seattle team that snuck into the playoffs, wound up winning their first round game, and Marshawn Lynch just pushing guys down. DeAndre Swift reminds me of that guy. He is a beast, man. When he gets out in open space as well as I just love watching this guy run. Obviously, the only downside is he doesn't stay on the field all the time. But you know what? Maybe things have turned. They took care of him this year.
Yeah.
They took care of him. They sat him. Remember when we all said, man, why are they sitting him again? Why is he only getting 3 touches, 5 touches? Remember we were going to say, oh, he's going to get 6 touches today. 6. They're going to unleash the beast now, man. You got nothing left.
Yeah.
Just let him go. Let him go, because that will help the passing game. And Jared Goff, you got to keep that Packer defense on their heels.
And that's the big thing, right? DeAndre, to me, was always an X factor. I know, Sam, you were a big fan of his before the season. Obviously, you had big hopes for him, but so did I, to be honest with you. I think we can all see the potential with DeAndre. But the unfortunate side of it is his health. And I think the Lions have realized that, or specifically Dan Campbell and the coaching staff, is if you want to get this production out of DeAndre Swift, you got to tone down his workload. You can't give him, as much as I would like to be him, a 20-plus carry back. You just can't do that for his health's sake. But I'll go to you, Sam, first. What are your expectations for DeAndre Swift tonight, man? How big of it would it be for the Lions if he has a big game tonight?
Oh, it would be huge for the Lions if DeAndre Swift has a big game, like something that he had last week or maybe week 1. Because if DeAndre Swift has a game like that, I think the Lions win. DeAndre Swift, I've had very much a love-hate relationship with this year.
We all have.
Yeah, obviously. Before the season, I predicted him to lead the NFC in rushing. After week 1, it looked pretty good. Then he just couldn't stay on the field. He couldn't stay healthy. But after having a season that I think we were all pretty disappointed in, he's only carried the ball more than 10 times in 3 games this year. At least against the Bears, he kind of finally woke up and had his breakout game. And it could be coming at the perfect time, because they're going to need him at Green Bay. They're going to need to run the football, because I think that is the pathway for the Lions to win this game. And as much as we like Jamal Williams, as much as we appreciate what he's done, the most talented, maybe offensive player, period, on this team, maybe besides Amon-Ra, is DeAndre Swift. He gives you that big play threat. He gives you a threat catching the ball out of the backfield. And I would love to see them sort of take all of the training wheels off. Just let him go. Give him maybe 15 to 20 carries even, because if DeAndre Swift has a big game, I'll tell you what, the Lions win.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm the same thing, too, is the fact that last week, I think, was the best thing for him, too, to have that game versus the Bears. Because, like, we've seen, like, he's been sitting out. He's been getting limited carries all year. And then for him to have the week he had last week with the Bears, to get that confidence back. And we've talked about it, Maz and Jeff and Flannel, we talked about it all year on the pregame show, is when DeAndre Swift is full go in this offense could be so scary, especially with, like, a running back duo of him and Jamal Williams. Like, it changes this offense tremendously, and already a good offense. So the fact he's back, and I mean, just open the door, let him go, and you still have Jamal Williams for the goal line there too. It's like it changes the offense so much.
And I want to give credit to Jamal, because we talk about DeAndre Swift, but not a lot of people talk about Jamal. I mean, he's 6 yards away from 1,000. He's 1 touchdown from tying Barry Sanders' record in a Lions uniform at 16. I mean, the season he's had so far, he has more rushing yards than he's ever had in his career. He's been in the league now for 6 years. This is his 6th season. And just a season for him. The positivity he brings, the leadership. We know everybody remembers his speech in Hard Knocks. If you're a puppy, stay on the porch. Let the big dogs eat. I mean, now you're seeing the impact, because when Jamal Williams is playing well and you see the energy, it trickles across the entire team. So for tonight, talk about another script. It's written for Jamal. I mean,
He's
you're
playing
going
against his old team.
You're going against your own team with a chance to not only break 1,000, but to potentially break Barry Sanders' touchdown record.
I would
There's a
love to
lot of
see it.
things floating in there up in the air for Jamal
I
Williams.
would love to see it because it's time to turn the page from those Lions, because those were the last winning Lions, really, in reality. I know 2014 was a great team. Loved that team. But the teams that made the playoffs in the glory days of the Lions were in the 90s. It's 2023 now, and it is time for this new regime, and I'm loving what I see. I haven't been this excited as a Lions fan since that 2014 season.
Yeah, no question. And I want to go through some of the scores for today before we go to break. We know the Bills took care of the Patriots. We kind of saw that one coming.
What a game. What a start.
I know.
And Naheem Hines, they pick him up at the trade deadline. He does nothing. Today, 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns. The opening kickoff.
Something was in the air.
Damar Hamlin watching in his hospital bed with his mom and dad, watching that. And he just like, oh my God. He put it on Twitter. You could.
It's got to be.
That was
I
one
thought
of
it
the
was
greatest
fake.
NFL
It was like a
moments I've
movie.
seen.
It was like a movie.
Great moment there. That was awesome.
I'll tell you, the Patriots, they played hard, man, but they played uphill all day against that Bills team. I like Mac Jones, by the way. I just want to say that. I like Mac Jones. Watch out for Mac Jones going forward. But the Buffalo Bills lock up the number 2 spot in the AFC. Congrats to them.
It's complicated, to say the least, with how events have folded since Damar Hamlin. Happy he's doing better.
Guess who they play next week in the playoffs? The Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
The Dolphins snuck in, beat the Jets. Jets were game. They wound up losing, it was 9-6. Then they got a safety to make it 11-6.
I had plus 3.5 too.
Isn't that something?
I had plus 3.5, and it's a safety at the end. It's just a
What'd
brutal.
they do? Would the Jets try to, like a dipsy? What'd they do?
They had no chance. I mean, they just kept going backwards until they got out of the end. It was just brutal.
Wow. So the Dolphins pull one out, and they were in a free fall. They were talking about firing Mike McDaniels. I'm like, what are you kidding?
One season, man.
So they get in the playoffs, and their treat is they get to go to Orchard Park and play the Bills. If you guys remember about 3 weeks ago, the Snow Bowl game, that Dolphins-Bills game on a Saturday night, we all said it. Man, this will be a fun game to watch again. I hope it snows. I hope that would be a fun game.
See, the question I have is what happens with Tua, because I'm not talking from an NFL fan. I don't think he should play at all. I think this should be out. The season should be over with. But he wants to play. We'll see what happens there. Another team that has similar complications from what happened earlier this week is the Bengals. They take care of the Ravens 27-16. This game will be decided by a coin flip if they ultimately make it.
Did you guys see the touchdown celebration, Joe Mixon?
Yeah, they faked the coin flip.
Yeah, I like the celebration.
That was awesome. This game
was great.
This is the Ravens. Ravens won today, so they will host the Bengals next week. Aren't I correct on that? They're playing the Bengals next week.
I believe the Bengals host. I think
Bengals have to host.
Yep, they won the game, so
they've won 8 in a row.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think the coin flip was only if the Ravens won the game, and the Bengals got it. And the Bengals came in with like a chip on their shoulder.
They beat their ass.
I wouldn't be surprised if this team goes on to make a run.
I agree.
What the NFL has just done to them, not giving them the opportunity. What they knew they were going to get to a 1 seed. They had a chance, kind of, but I wouldn't be surprised if this team wins 2 or 3 games and gets to an AFC championship.
You're right, man.
Would not be surprised.
And as we saw, Steelers taking care of the Browns. Kenny Pickett's been playing a lot better, by the way. I know he struggled a little bit today, but
Steelers did what they had to do. They had to win and hope the Jets beat the Dolphins. Had that happened, they would have made the playoffs. Instead, they have a winning record. They're 9-8.
Yeah.
No losing record for Mike Tomlin. And in a rebuild year, Kenny Pickett, your quarterback, the guy you take number 1. Sammy, what do you think about Kenny Pickett going forward? I love the kid.
I mean, he showed that he can play in this league. He's shown that at least when it's money time, he can lead a drive. I do think the last 2 games up to this one, the defense had a lot more to do with it than Kenny Pickett. But when you're a rookie, the fact that he has been able to sort of right the ship where Mitch Trubisky had it before and just at least do a serviceable enough job for the Pittsburgh Steelers to have yet another winning record under Mike Tomlin is awesome. But speaking of teams that do not have a winning record, how about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Tom Brady?
Frauds.
8-9.
The Lote?
8, the luckiest of all time. They're 8-9, and they get to host a home playoff game. They get to win their division because the division was absolute junk this year.
God, I wish the Falcons could have won that
Oh my
division.
God!
And by the way, too, we also got to watch the tank-off, the Texans versus the Colts. Who wants to lose more? Who wants to lose more? And I guess the Texans took care of them by 1 point. And on top of that, Bears get number 1 pick now.
Yeah,
Thank you.
So finish.
I guess because of a tie,
yes.
The Texans, they go out. Lovie Smith went out. It's probably his last game. So he's like, the hell with it. Let's win the damn game. Let's win the damn game. 32-31.
Yeah.
I don't even know how that game finished, Boone. How the hell did they win that game?
There was just a last minute touchdown that was just, and then it was just they got to stop and won the game. Like, they were down, I think 10 points. I believe.
Yeah.
I wasn't watching it, but they were up by almost 2 scores. They blew that lead. I'm sure Chicago fans were mad, and then all of a sudden they just come. Davis Mills just miracle. Chicago owes Davis Mills something.
Yeah,
they do.
They owe Davis Mills something.
And the Colts, they'll pick in the top 5, just the way they wanted it. Top 4. They'll get their quarterback.
What quarterback wouldn't love to play with Jeff Saturday or potentially Jim Harbaugh?
Jeff Saturday coached his last game today. Jim Harbaugh is getting an interview with the Broncos.
Oh, gosh.
He's getting an interview with the
I
Broncos.
We'll save all that for Monday. All right, we're going to go to break. When we get back, we're going to preview the injury report and just go around the NFL a little bit. Thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Woodward Sports Detroit Lions pregame show brought to you by Swiss Insurance.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
When it comes to making your haircut truly an experience, there's no better place than Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Come to any one of our 26 Metro Detroit locations for an award-winning haircut experience and qualify for a chance to win a down payment for your dream home up to $200,000. Our precision haircut and talented stylists will have you looking good, feeling good, and give you a chance to change your life forever. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
Make sure it's seen and heard. Corner, jumper, tweet us, hop on the YouTube chat, slide in the DMS at Woodward Sports on all social media.
We're back. Woodward Sports Detroit Lions pregame show brought to you by Swiss Insurance. Jeff Iafrate, Tom Mazawey, Booner, Sam Flannel in Fletch here for you guys previewing Detroit Lions versus Green Bay Packers Sunday Night Football. The only primetime game the Lions have had, obviously Thanksgiving, but no pun intended, but that's a given that we get that. So, big moment. But we do got a lot to talk about. I do want to preview the scores and just list them out for you guys. Games that are currently on right now. Obviously, we have the Rams and Seahawks game. Rams still lead 13-6. They have the ball right now, currently driving down the field. Baker, everything I've said about you, I take it back. If you can lead the Rams to a win here. But besides the Rams and the Seahawks, we got the Giants down 16-0 to the Eagles.
By the way, they just went on 4th and inches in their own territory and got it.
Oh my gosh, Giants! Even though they've already clinched at this point.
Giants can do they're benching everybody.
Yeah, they're just playing with house money at this point.
Booner is that quarterback right now for the Giants.
we might win the game if I'm back.
Next, we got the Cowboys and Commanders. Actually, like Cowboys fashion, Commanders lead 13-6 to the Cowboys. Moving on, we have the Broncos and Chargers tied 17-17 at the half. The Broncos scored 17 at the half.
Wow!
Can we talk about that for a second?
Let's not.
No Nathaniel Hackett. They get 17 at the half. Congratulations.
Maybe Nathaniel Hackett was the problem. Well, I don't know. Maybe
moving on.
He didn't help.
No, he did not. 49ers lead the Cardinals 21-13. And there you have it. Obviously, we're tuning into this Rams game. We'll give you guys updates as we get them. But I do want to talk about the injury report. Do we have that currently right now?
I don't think so yet. I don't know if it's out yet.
It's not currently out. I know pretty much you'll have a healthy roster on both sides. I know the Packers still have guys out, but they've been out the whole season. One player that was out early in the year that has came back and has went on an absolute tear is Christian Watson. And can we talk about him for a second?
Heck yeah.
Because he single-handedly changed the Packers' passing attack with one player emerging like Christian Watson. They didn't have him. He left the game early against the Lions early in the year. I don't think it was a concussion, but they just, for precautionary reasons, they sat him out of the game. But since that game, he had a stretch where I believe he had 8 touchdowns in like 4 games. I mean, he's been an animal for them. He's a big play threat for Aaron Rodgers. And that's the thing I'm going to be watching today, Maz, is a secondary who's been shaky for majority of the year. How do you handle a guy like Christian Watson who has the size, has the speed, kind of has the I don't want to say Megatron because I use that in very certain terms, all right? I hated when DK Metcalf was compared to Megatron. But anyway, has a Megatron-esque build, and he's doing some great things for the Packers.
He is. The last couple of weeks, they slowed him down a little bit. Romeo Doubs is all of a sudden starting to, pick it up a little bit. So if they can do that, and of course they love, Aaron Rodgers loves going to his tight end.
Right.
And that's big for the Lions to try to shut that down. And speaking of the tight ends, since they traded Hawkinson to the Vikings, the tight ends on Detroit, all 3 of them have lit it up.
Most touchdowns in the NFL for tight ends. The Lions.
Isn't that it's
most combined
remarkable.
touchdowns in the Lions' history.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
It's unbelievable, man. That's what you want to see. You want to try to just keep the Packers off the freaking field. Keep Aaron Rodgers on that bench. The weather's not going to be that much of an issue tonight. It's cold, but it's not ice cold. It's not snowing. It's not raining. You know what? It's let's play football.
You're probably not going to have a cement field like in Carolina.
Lambeau Field is always taken care of.
Yeah, I would assume
always
so.
taken care of. Carolina, they don't expect cold temperatures.
No,
that's why
they
they kind of fell asleep on that.
I think it was like 30 degrees, and it was the coldest in Carolina history.
I know.
So,
as far as the Lions go on the injury report, it'll probably be out in a few minutes, but Jamar Jefferson has been activated for this game. Remember the running back that drafted last year?
Oh, I remember.
And Jaron Williams, the cornerback, both from the practice squad up to the active roster. So we'll see who sits out now in their place.
One guy that I'm going to be keying in on, and I want your guys' thoughts on this player specifically, because the last 2 weeks has been a rough stretch for him. After a really good start to the season, that's Jeff Okudah.
He's seen the bench a lot.
And that's concerning to me because, I mean, listen, you can say whatever you want about Jeff. I've defended him this season. I think he's in a bad position for a guy coming off an Achilles injury. He's your number 1 corner. And when he's not, quite frankly, he's playing, really, this will be his first complete season in the NFL. And for all his flaws, he has a lot, he's battled a lot this year. And for him to be benched the last 2 weeks, one for Mike Hughes, and I get Mike Hughes has provided a lot of effort. He's a good corner on the outside. I want to talk to you guys about your concern level about the Jeff Okudah news and just kind of the stretch of games. I know he was sick a couple games ago. Yeah. He just hasn't looked like what we've seen Jeff at the beginning of the season.
He's not trending in the right direction. Let's leave it at that. And you know what? They're not saying bad things about him, but they're not saying good things about him either. When they ask about Jeff Okudah, Dan Campbell's like, he's doing all right for us. We've got him in specialty plays. And in other words, he's talking in circles that he hasn't played well. One-on-one. Cornerback, he's not doing his job. What I will say he's doing his job is he's getting in on a lot of tackles, gets low, gets up there on tackles, but that's not what you pay a cornerback for. So, I don't know. Flannel, do you see anything different in him?
I mean, Jeff Okudah at the beginning of the year, he was a guy that we all kind of thought was a bit of a revelation. He was playing well. He played well against Justin Jefferson the first time. He played well against Devontae Smith in the opening game. He had a great game at Dallas. But I'm pretty disappointed with how he has sort of finished the season. I mean, he was obviously terrible at Carolina, as was everybody. And then last week, he got benched against the Bears. The Bears receivers are receivers that you should lock up. And I'm not saying it's Jeff Okudah's fault, but those first couple Bears drives, they basically drove it right down the field. And once they took Jeff Okudah out, they pretty much shut the Bears down completely. Jeff Okudah, for all that he's done positively this year, will go down, unfortunately, in my opinion, as one of the worst and most impactful and the negative draft picks in Detroit Lions history. It's the reality of being a number 3 overall pick. It's the reality of having a terrible rookie year and a devastating injury, and then a very poor finish to this season.
I'm not going to go there yet.
I mean, that's fair. I'm seeing how it's trending, but it's not trending positively. But the good news is that despite his struggles, it's not like the Lions' defense has been terrible. They had one really bad game in the past 9. It was at Carolina, but other than that, they've been playing well. So whether it's Jeff Okudah or not, I mean, they're at least hiding him well, and he's at least playing well enough so that the defense isn't completely falling apart.
Well, let's hope he gets in there today and he has some good plays, positive plays to get him going. A lot of this has to do with confidence as well. Once you lose your confidence in that position, it's a tough way to climb back in.
Yes, it is.
I mean, we saw like earlier in the year when he was playing really well, his confidence was extremely high. So that's like, I mean, exactly what you say there, Mads. I don't think there's anything different really. Everyone here probably touched on the same exact thing as, you know, you want to see him go back out there and do what he was doing weeks ago before he got sick. But it seemed like since he got sick and like coming back from that, he's struggled. But the only positive thing you can take away is what Matt said, is he's one of the best tacklers in that secondary there, and he gets it done. So
he's
that's
very physical.
Yeah, that's one positive thing you can say. But outside of that, it's, I mean, I think I remember the Packers game we did a pregame show last time, was this receiving core isn't a great receiving core. This is a receiving core where he can get confidence and he can play well. So that's kind of what I expect to see out of him. If he's not starting or if he's just coming in and out, I still expect these guys, Christian Watson, him to be able to play decent versus him.
Yeah,
So.
and speaking of players that are coming off injuries, hoping to make an impact, I want to play the clip, Fletch, if you have it, J-Mo talking about how they'll be ready tonight against the Packers.
He's been great, man. He's been letting us know it's a lot on the line. You know, we got to come prepared as we can. We've had great practices yesterday, today. I would say we're ready for game Sunday night. It's big lights on. We're just going to see who wanted more. Like I said earlier, like I feel like my guy's ready for sure.
And there you have it, Jameson Williams talking about how the Lions, they'll be ready for the Packers. And that's another one of these young players, right? Like, and that's probably my biggest concern, which we'll get into later in the show, is the youth of this team, right? The stage. Ton of impactful players in the Lions, especially defensively. You've seen the difference between how they've played offensively and defensively on the road versus at home. And, like, let's be honest, it's Lambeau Field in the cold. Aaron Rodgers, despite the season he's having, this Packers team is now on a 4-game winning streak. So, again, you can't compare this Packers team. I know Lions fans look at, well, we beat Aaron already this season. Well, this is different. It's not who you play, it's when you play them. And this is a big stage for these young players, man.
Geno Smith just hit Tyler Lockett for a touchdown. They're going for the tie right now, Seattle. I think it was like a 90-plus yard drive. So a couple of big plays on that one. And it looks like the Rams and Seahawks will continue, and they will be tied at 13.
Yeah, that was a beautiful throw by Geno Smith, by the way. 13-13 now early in the third quarter. And this game kind of went as expected. Like, I knew it would be a dogfight between these two teams.
It's raining there.
It's raining.
As usual.
It's in Seattle. I think early in the year when they went to L.A., I forgot who was that quarterback. It was a backup, whoever they had before Baker. I can't remember off the top of my head, but they only lost by like 4.
I think it was their practice squad quarterback at that time.
So it was a close game. It's probably going to be a close one tonight. I'll tell you what, we're going to go to break. When we get back, I do want to preview some around the NFL games, specifically in the NFC North. But before that, thank you guys for tuning in to the Woodward Sports Detroit Lions pregame show, brought to you by Swiss Insurance.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage.
What's going on, everybody? Neil Rule with Woodward Sports. It's week 18 of Making the Cut. We're live at Lady Jane's World Headquarters in Birmingham, Michigan. We're going to find out, are Lions fans confident going up against the hated Green Bay Packers in week 18 with a playoff spot on the line? Now, Sudi, you're very confident the Lions against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers doesn't scare you?
No, 100% Lions defense.
Are they going to catch a break? Are the Rams going to beat the Seahawks? Are your Lions going to the playoffs?
I think the Lions are going to go to the playoffs.
Sudi's a confident man, everybody. Here with Lucas, big Lions-Packers game this weekend coming up, week 18. How much confidence do you have in your Lions?
I got a lot of confidence, and mainly it's going to be running that offense to Jamal Williams. I think he's going to come back in Lambeau. I think he remembers what the Packers did to him. I think he's going to get at least 85 on the ground, and I think if Jamal Williams, if they get him rushing 4 or 5 yards to carry our offense consistently, it shows up. So it's going to come down to the defense And after last week, I'm liking our chances.
What about Aaron Rodgers? Does he scare you?
No. Aaron Rodgers, he's at the tail end of his career.
What about Aaron Rodgers' hair? Is it greasy?
I think it's just disgusting, kind of just like his personality. It's bold. It's not quite the taste you want. It's kind of just overwhelming Aaron Rodgers' taste.
Sitting here with Sam, our guy. Sam, Week 18, Lions-Packers. Got a lot of confidence in your Lions?
Oh, I do definitely have some confidence, and I'm also confident that this isn't the Green Bay Packer team of yesteryear. Aaron Rodgers isn't the same player he used to be. I think that this defense can get some stops, and you see what the offense was able to do last week on the ground, through the air. This is an elite offense. I think the Lions have a very, very good chance to go into Lambeau and end the Packers season.
What about Aaron Rodgers and his greasy hair? Could he come to Lady Jane's and maybe get that cleaned up a little bit?
I mean, if he needs somewhere, come to this Lady Jane's corporate headquarters in Birmingham, Michigan. If he needs a haircut, I mean, he definitely needs a haircut. This is the place to go.
Well, there's two things we know for sure. There's a lot of belief in the Detroit Lions against the Green Bay Packers, and people just don't like Aaron Rodgers. Back to you guys.
Where were you? You should be on there.
Well, I was busy crying 3 seats back
Take that
from Sam
hat off
playing.
and show the peeps that don't.
Okay, so
look how good you look.
This is what we're working with here. All right,
fresh hair.
so
Great.
Life's been a little different.
At least yours is going to grow back. Mine's not growing back.
Yeah, the positive thing is, I have my hairline, and number 2, I don't have a bad hair day.
There
so
you go.
it can't happen to me.
You don't have to do your hair every morning now.
No, I don't. Say anything about 45 minutes. No, I'm just joking.
Flannel, you were looking good in that chair, my friend.
Oh, thank you very much. So the secret's out. It wasn't just a random Lady Jane's customer named Sam.
The secret is out.
That is kind of funny, though.
Yes, it is. And again, you know what's funny too, and kind of ironic, is how the Bears this season. Lions had the number 2 pick last year. Bears have the number 1 pick this year. Vikings took care of business. Kirk Cousins was benched in the first half. For Nick Mullins took over. They take care of the Bears 29-13. The Bears lock up the number 1 pick, and they also have $100 million in cap space coming up. So
that's a quick way to get better.
And I want to throw this out there for you guys because I've said this on the show multiple times.
Tim Boyle played, by the way, for the Bears a little today. Just to let you guys know.
Yeah, Tim Boyle's
2 for 8, 2 interceptions.
Yes.
There you go. Timmy.
Solid game.
Yeah, and on top of that,
TB12.
I want to bring up the conversation to you guys about the future of the NFC North because, in my opinion, I think the Lions have the brightest future. Right now, the Vikings are the best team. But I don't know if they'll stay that way. You talk about cap space, where they're heading. There's players in the Vikings they're going to have to take care of and pay. They're not even sold on their own quarterback this year, Kirk Cousins. I think the Lions have the brightest future with the assets they currently have. But what do you guys think about the Bears? Number 1 pick, $100 million. They got to kind of figure out if Fields is still a franchise quarterback. I think
he is.
Bears fans like what they've seen out of him. But if you're the Bears, or if you're a Bears fan, how confident are you in this team moving forward?
They're not close yet, but they have the one piece that a lot of teams want to have, and that's their quarterback. I like Justin Fields. I know he's not the best passer right now, but he really doesn't have anyone to throw the ball to right now. And an offensive line is suspect, to say the least. The guy can run. We all know that. He's a great athlete. He's a big kid. He's got the guts to play the position. Chicago, tough weather. Look what they did to their defense. They had a pretty good defense when they started the year, and they pretty much tore it apart and traded pieces.
Right.
They are going to build it from the ground up. Matt Eberflus is your guy there, and we'll see. He was a defensive-minded guy. We'll see how they do going forward. But I do think they are way behind the other 2 teams in the other 3 teams in the NFC.
And looking at the field, I mean, it's hard, Booner and Sam. Booner, I'll start with you. Not to look at the Lions and look at the future and be like, this team is. And although right now they're contending for the playoffs technically, they're not even where they're going to be in a couple years.
Yeah, and I had this. I tied Easy on my show this week and came out today, and we talked about this. And I asked him the question, and people in the chat too, do you think the Detroit Lions next year will be the favorite, the preseason favorite? Because obviously the Packers are always in that spot, right? But with the Aaron Rodgers, like, he's kind of up in the air. Is he gonna, like, what's going on with him? The Vikings, they're always like this year. They're in that spot to where it's like they won all these games, but they just aren't like you can't just say they're a great team. And that defense, they built it, and then it just has crapped the bed all season. So going into next year, to me, I'm most confident in betting on the Lions to win the NFC North next year, just based on the progress of every team right now. And for the Bears too, I don't think they're in a good spot to build, but I don't think they're at that spot to where you can say they're going to be decent next year. It's going to be interesting with Ryan Poles going into the offseason, number 1 pick. most cap space in the NFL out of any team, I believe. Ryan Poles has some workout for him, and he could completely mess that up. You know what I mean? It's not guaranteed he's going to go out there and get the right guys. So it's interesting. I do think, though, the Detroit Lions, my opinion, I think they could potentially be the favorites to win the NFC North going into next season.
Yeah, I actually agree with you, Booner. I think right now I would pick the Lions next year because look at how they are built. Look at how they're sort of built to last. I mean, you see the 2021 rookie class. Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown went from damn good rookies to stars. And in this 2022 draft class, this might be the single greatest draft class in Detroit Lions history. You got Aiden Hutchinson, James Houston, Kirby Joseph, Malcolm Rodriguez, Josh Pascal has showed you something. You expect Jamison Williams to have an offseason and be healthy for next year. I could see a few of those players maybe taking the leap into being stars. And you see they got more cap space next year, more cap space the year after that. The Detroit Lions, I mean, my expectation is they win the NFC North next year. I think it would be a disappointment if they don't. And it's a testament to how fast they've sort of built this. To guys like Brad Holmes, to guys like the coaching staff, with how they've developed some of these players. The Lions are in the best hands I've ever seen them in during my lifetime, of course, and it's just different. These are the brand new Lions, and they're built to last, and I'm picking them to win the NFC North next year as of right now.
Yeah, no, and I would agree with you. And one point I've made consistently all year is the difference in Terry's. I've talked to Terry about this too, and he's mentioned it on Big D Energy. And Maz, I want your thoughts on it. He said the Lions have done this in the past, where they go on these winning streaks during the season. You start rough, you finish well, you make the playoffs, but they did it with the older players. They're doing it right now with first, second-year guys. Obviously, they have veterans mixed in there as well. But the fact that they're doing all of this with Brad Holmes and his draft picks, his selections, guys like James Houston and Malcolm Rodriguez, who were sixth-round picks, that's what makes this thing different. And again, these guys are going to be here for a while. I know James Houston, since he was, technically cut and then re-signed, the contract's a little different. But for the majority of the players, they're not going anywhere, Maz. This team is going to be young. You're going to be paying them dirt cheap for the next couple of years as these players continue to get better.
And look at the picks you got coming up in this year's draft. And by the way, the Rams just took the lead. Matt Gay field goal. 16-13, about 5 minutes to go in the third. So if the Rams do win this game, yeah, they're helping you in the playoffs, but they're hurting you on the traffic. I mean, but what would you rather have right now?
I'd rather have the playoffs.
Playoffs every day
playoff
of the week.
time, of course.
I do want to mention too, Matt, to your point with the draft picks is, to Jeff, what you said, they're not. These guys aren't leaving. They're not going anywhere. Brad Holmes, we've already seen the last two draft classes what he's done. Imagine this next draft class with 2 first-round picks. What is he going to do now to even build the team more for next season? We're 7-2, and I'll keep bringing that up. We're 7-2 in our last 9 games, and they've built that already. Imagine bringing in another draft class, him going 3 for 3 in draft classes, and that's not even talking about free agency.
Yep. Mm-hmm. They got a lot of money to work with, too.
I don't see how you don't look at this team and go, they just finished the year, that 7-2 stretch there. How do you not take that team to win the NFC North with the draft class and free agents they bring in?
As a Lion fan, guys, I'm sorry, Jeff.
No, it's okay.
Do you really want those expectations next year, or do you want to kind of like, hey, don't pay attention to us, just leave us alone and let's do our thing? Well, expectations weigh a lot. They weigh a lot.
I would answer that with go ask Cincinnati's fan base how they're doing, because Cincinnati for a while, yes, they won games, but it was always okay. They're the Bengals, and then here comes Joe Burrow, and they make it to the Super Bowl. Following year, what were they, like 500? Oh, they're not going to make the playoffs. They answered the call.
8 in a row.
8 in a row. Like I want those expectations because I'm sick of it. As much as I love it, at the same time, there's a double meaning in there when national media is rooting for you, because it's like, well, you're getting recognition, but it's also like it's almost a feeling of like, it's the Lions. They're like everyone's little brother. It's like they're catering the Lions. I don't want that. I want the Lions to be discussed just like any other team. And I know historically it's hard to come back from what they've done, but it starts here. It starts not just with this game, but this season and this new regime.
Don't you love, though, the fact, like to this point to where Dan Campbell came into this game, and he's like, how much pressure do you want to put on your players with those expectations that you could win a playoff game, you could finish over 500, and he basically came out and said, I'm putting all the pressure on the players. They need to feel this. Same thing to me for next year going in. If you're the favorite of the NFC North, good, we love that. It's completely different than it has been in the past. This is a different team. This is a different franchise at this point, and we're trying to change things to that. So, yeah, I love it. Go in with that pressure. These guys have came out, Deshaun Elliott. They want the pressure. Mm-hmm. They love it now.
Yeah, I mean, the Lions they're a team that I think we all think are built to last for a long time, that if everything goes well, they're going to be consistent winners. And in order to sort of break through, eventually you have to have those expectations. You have to prove that you can be the hunted and not the hunter. And if the Lions make the playoffs, especially this year, how can they not have expectations going into next year? How can you not almost think that they can at least compete for the division? I mean, you see the Packers, they're not the Packers of yesteryear. The Minnesota Vikings are 13-4 and they won the division, but they have a -3 point differential. That is insane. That is like outer space. And the Bears, they're not going to be ready yet. You see how many holes that they have. It's going to be a couple years. They're going to be better, but not better enough to compete. So the Lions, eventually, you can't always be sort of the little engine that could. If you want to be consistent winners, if you want to break through and win at the highest level, eventually you're going to have those expectations. And I think this is a team that, the way that they're built, the character that they have, I don't worry about them crumbling like I would other teams, like other Lions teams have 2015.
Yeah, no doubt. And again, I would even bring up the Cleveland Browns fan base. When they had, I know Baker, as much as I give him crap, he won a playoff game with the Browns, and what they did with Kevin Stefanski. Now they got Deshaun Watson. Those expectations carry over every season with what they've done. You guys have won a playoff game. They were in a close game with Kansas City with Baker Mayfield. Now Browns fans have that expectation every year. I want to get to the point where Lions fans can every year have expectations of making the playoffs and not just, can we win 6-7 games? Like I want legitimate expectations, and that's why next year winning the division, I love that we're finally here. And Dan Campbell's talked about that, by the way, which is something I love that he's mentioned out loud and talked to the reporters, is this is in our plan all along. It was always year 3. We want to contend for the division. This year was more about, yes, they want to be relevant, they want to win some games, but it's more about player development, and you've seen that all year. But next season, Maz, it's to contend for the division. I'm not saying win it or the season's a disaster.
I'm with you.
But you got to be in that conversation.
Yeah, you got to be 1-2. 2 teams got to come out of your division. Maybe 3 teams come out of that division. You got to be one of them. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it. And the way they're playing in the division itself is phenomenal.
Hold on, Ramsey just got an interception. We're watching this live.
You're joking.
Rams are up 16-13. Ramsey picked it off. Gino's still on the field. Thank you, Jalen Ramsey.
I just want to say something.
2 interceptions.
This could be Sean McVay's last game coaching the LA Rams.
Did it make you guys nervous about that coming out yesterday, the day before the game?
Jay Glazer said it again today, that his people say that Sean McVay is going to step away from this team. And why the hell not? I mean, he's going to go on TV like Sean Payton did, except he's going to do 1,000,000 times better than Sean Payton. And the Rams, they don't have the future. They don't. He'll wait a year or 2 and get a multi-million-dollar deal to save another team, but a team that's got draft capital and a team that's got on the way up. He won a Super Bowl. He won a Super Bowl already. I wanted him to stay because I'm a Baker Mayfield fan, and I believe that Baker could become the quarterback that I always thought he could be under McVay. But if he leaves, why the hell is Matthew Stafford coming back? I know he said he's coming back. He ain't going to come back.
Aaron Donald's out the door, too.
If McVay doesn't come back, he's done. Matthew Stafford will retire. He didn't want to be in a rebuild here. Why the hell would he want to be in a rebuild in L.A.?
Yeah, and it seems kind of an L.A. mentality. Am I correct on that? I mean, L.A. just seems like a city where people like that are like, hey, we won a Super Bowl, season's not going our way. I think I had enough. I'm out. See you guys.
It's the market.
It's like, I get it, but at the same time, it's like, I believe Sean McVay is kind of gonna pull a Sean Payton here, where he retires, and then in a couple of years he's gonna be like, I'm back.
He's so
here
young.
we go.
He's so young.
He's afforded that opportunity.
And it kind of worries me a little bit. That's another job opening, and I don't want to be negative here because we have a big game tonight.
Ben Johnson?
Yeah. I wasn't even going to say his name because I don't want to throw it out there for the other teams to even think about. But that is just another job opening if that does come. And that's a really, really big market that if anyone gets an offer from that team, even no matter if Stafford's there, Donald's there, that market in LA, you have to go take that. So just another option that's out there.
Right now, we just want him to win his last game as a Rams coach. Right now.
Just get it done, Sean.
Last year,
please.
Lions fans were made fun of for rooting for the Rams. Everybody's rooting for the Rams today. So We're rooting for you.
And Kelly Stafford is rooting for the Lions.
Yes, and it's funny because now the tables have completely turned, right? The Rams had their Super Bowl year last year. The Lions picked 2. This year, the Rams, we have their pick. We're going to pick top 10, and we have a chance to make the playoffs. An exciting season for the Lions. We're going to go to break. When we get back, I do want to play a clip. Aaron Glenn talking about Green Bay. But until then, thank you guys for tuning in to the Woodward Sports Detroit Lions pregame show brought to you by Swiss Insurance. We'll see you after the break.
Go Rams.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
As chilly weather approaches, Big Boy's got the perfect comfort meals for you. Try our hearty classic meatloaf or our creamy Cajun chicken Alfredo. These will be sure to leave you craving for more. How about breakfast? Our stuffed potato pancakes are back with our lumberjack, blockbuster, and Santa Fe Garden. These potato pancakes will definitely fill you up. Whether it's for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, come stock up on the perfect comfort meal today. We'll see you soon at Big Boy.
The Sports Marketing Agency would not be who we are without great community partners like Higuera Health and Carol Zuniga.
It's an awesome opportunity to partner with your organization. Higuera Health is a comprehensive behavioral health organization. We serve children through older adults with mental health, substance use, and developmental disabilities across Western Wayne counties, and really excited to now be in downriver communities as well. Give us a call at 734-458-4601.
The only sports network in Detroit that starts with a W. You know, because we win. Woodward Sports, Detroit's winning sports network.
At the end of the day, we're trying to win a game. And that's what this is. It's either win or you lose, all right, in the simplest terms. And we do everything we can to try to go win a game, regardless of who it is. Again, we respect our opponents, but we also trying to beat the heck out of our opponents too, though. So,
man, for all the criticism that AG gets, I love the mentality, man. I mean, as a former player, former corner, he tackled Barry when he hit 2K yards, by the way, if you saw that clip already come out. AG, man, love what he embodies, and he talked about it right there. He had to kind of correct himself, talking about they want to beat the you-know-what out of any team they face. And I want to ask you guys this question because this stat really intrigued me. And the Packers this year are 5-0 when they run the ball 50% of the time. Yeah. And that kind of speaks to how the Packers can win games. It's not Aaron Rodgers driven with Devontae Adams like Maz alluded to earlier. It's really up front, running the ball, taking care of the football. And if I had to ask you, Maz, I'll start with you. Who are you more worried about on the road? Is it the Lions offense or the Lions defense?
The Lions offense I'm more worried about. I really am. I think, and I've said it all week, that Green Bay has turned it around. They've got 4 straight. But what I've watched from them, it's just not, they're not just winning, ugly. They're dominating. What they did to Minnesota last week was they pulverized the Vikings last week. They stopped that prolific offense. If they could stop the Vikings offense at Lambeau, they have a good chance to stop this Lions offense here at Lambeau. They're playing better. When the season started, everyone said Green Bay, at least I did, they're still top 3 defense in the league. And it didn't happen. They struggled. But in the last half of the year, especially in the last 5-6 games, they are starting to play the way they can play. So I'm worried about the Packer defense stopping that Lion offense. Boone, how about you?
Yeah, that's a great point. And just looking here, a stat that I just pulled up the stats from the last matchup that they had here. And the Lions defense held Aaron Jones to 9 carries, 25 yards, and 11 carries to 34 yards. And we've talked about it the last 3 or 4 weeks of the Detroit Lions defense holding Delvin Cook to, 30-something yards, holding Saquon Barkley to 30-something yards. I think that's what they need to do today to win the game. They have to stop these guys. That's kind of how they've won and gone on this little 4-game win streak, as these running backs have gone, and Aaron Jones has stepped up. A.J. Dillon has stepped up. Aaron Rodgers has only averaged like 180 passing yards or 190 passing yards for the last 4 or 5 games in this stretch. So we have to stop that run game. And if we do that, I think we have a really good chance. And it's to Maz, your point on that defense there is Jared Goff has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league for the last 6-7 games.
Yep.
He's thrown 15 touchdowns and 0 picks. The fact that he's doing that and coming up against this defense that has been playing their best, one of the best in the NFL, that's going to be extremely interesting. I think it just comes down to the Lions defense stopping Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon today.
And before I read, because I put a poll out there just to see what the people think, Sam, what are your thoughts on that? What side of the ball are you more worried about on the road?
I don't know if it's one specific side. I worry about facets of both sides because we talk about the Green Bay Packers running game with Aaron Jones. He has quietly had a really good year, over 1,000 yards, over 5 yards per carry, and you kind of mentioned when they run the ball more than 50% of the time, the Green Bay Packers are 5-0. Well, the Packers are 4-1 when Aaron Jones has over 100 yards rushing, and their one loss was at Buffalo, which there's no shame in that. And the Lions defense, they have had some great performances against the run, like holding Saquon Barkley and Dalvin Cook, but they've also had that game at Carolina, which was an absolute disaster on almost biblical levels. And also, the Packers defense, we kind of mentioned it earlier, they're only giving up 17 points per game in the past 4 games and forced 12 turnovers. You're never going to lose a game when you're playing that well on defense. And also, the Packers in their 4-game winning streak, you know what that is correlated with? Devondre Campbell, who was first-team All-Pro last year, being back. They are 4-0 since he's been back in the lineup. And guess who else is playing at an All-Pro level again? Jair Alexander. In 2020, he was one of the best corners in the league. Last year, he had an injury-shortened season, and he's playing well. And not to mention they've got guys like Preston Smith, who can get after the quarterback. But that all being said, I know I'm kind of talking about things that worry me about the Packers. The Packers also have the 26th ranked rush defense.
There you go.
So this is a game, I think, like Jamal Williams, DeAndre Swift, this is your game.
And I'm glad you brought that up, Sam, because if you listen to Matt LaFleur's presser earlier this week, he mentioned, and this is a compliment to the Lions, he said there's 2 offensive lines anybody's worried about in the NFL. 1 is the Eagles, 2 is the Lions. So he's putting the Lions in that echelon of offensive lines, and that's with an offensive line that hasn't even played together healthy yet. Like, you didn't have Vaitai this year. Evan Brown has played, at least lately, he's played excellent. But this offensive line for the Lions, they're going to have to dictate the pace here. And I'm with you, Sam, because if you look at Carolina, there's a lot of things you could pull away from that Carolina game. While they gave up over 300 yards rushing, the offensive line, they couldn't get any push at the line of scrimmage. And that's kind of been the Lions' MO. Every game they've won, they've at least had some sort of success up front on the line of scrimmage. That's what they're going to have to continue tonight. So you're looking at that offensive line and you're looking at this Lions defensive line. Those are the 2 things I'm keyed in on, Maz, because that is the mentality that Dan Campbell preaches to all the guys.
There's no doubt about it. Like I said, the only thing I'm worried about is playing at Lambeau Field. That's it.
By the way, shout out to Fox for putting this up on the screen.
Yeah, that number speaks for itself.
Lions are 3-27 in the last 30 when playing in Lambeau. I mean, that stat just like...
But they won their last one. That's the way you look at it.
Here we go. We're making progress. You can't start unless it's today, so we can change that going
They
forward.
won 2 in a row against Green
huge.
Bay. All right? They won 2 in a row against Green Bay. And they're going to have to play their best today to win. That's it. Hopefully, Seattle hangs on here, and they are doing their best to do that. Still up 3 points. They're in the 4th quarter. They drove inside Seattle territory. Bad play on 3rd down. Had to punt it. Punt wasn't very good. So right now, Seattle has the ball down 3.
Yeah, this game is
It's going down to the wire.
I know, and that's exactly what I didn't want. But you know what? At least the Rams are in it. They're up by 3 right now.
They're
top
playing
of the
hard.
4th quarter. Yeah, they're playing hard.
They're playing really
defense
hard.
is playing great.
Baker Mayfield, by the way, I mean, he's playing for a contract, Mez, but with the Rams, at least you've seen a lot of good things out of Baker.
I've seen him. I've seen improvement. I've seen he's getting more confident, and we'll see how it goes because next year we'll see if Sean McVay stays, he'll stay. If Sean McVay don't stay, he'll be shopping for a new team.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I do want to talk about, because I want to go to the poll I put in the chat. Who are you more worried about tonight? The Lions offense on the road or the Lions defense on the road? And you got to also look at who they're facing, right? The Lions offense against the Packers defense or the Lions defense against that Packer offense. 76% chose Lions defense, 26 chose Lions offense.
Really?
It's pretty lopsided.
Yeah, no, it is. And again, I see a lot where they're coming from because I've always said the biggest need for this team, 2 things, starts defensively. It's secondary and your linebackers. we don't even get to the offense yet before you talk about it. So again, I agree with what they're saying. But you mentioned it earlier, Maz. The one guy that you didn't. I know Goff on the road, but again, I'm more worried about because even the Carolina game, I know the offense didn't show up, but they couldn't run the ball. Like, it's more than Goff for me. Like, I'm looking at the offense in a lot of different ways. You can look at the quarterback. Obviously, he's the most important. But if they got to be able to run the football, because if you can't, I can't just sit there and say, well, Goff, he struggles on the road. You got to give him something to work with. The Lions got to be able to get some push up there.
If Hubbard and Foreman, gashed them 2 weeks ago at Carolina, what the hell do you think the Packers are gonna try to do?
Yeah.
They're gonna try to run it down their throat.
I do think, to the chat's point too, like, shout out to them. That I see why that poll is the way it is, because the reason we lost that Panthers game is because of the defense, and like, they gave up so many big plays. You still scored 23. You gave up 37 points. And it was just like in the first half, it was like every single time the Panthers touched the ball, they were giving up a 40, 50-yard run. And to the chat's point, that's where my head goes to right away is your defense has to step up today. You can't do what you did in Carolina, or you have zero chance, especially in Lambeau Field for the Packers playing for playoffs. Like, you can't give up any of those plays. Like,
no, you can't.
If you give up 2 or 3 of those plays, as close of a game as it could be, especially like the last time we played the Packers, that could be the game right there.
And Sam, I want your thoughts on this, because I was going to bring up too, like, and Maz, you already brought this up earlier, but I think it's super important for this game is the Packers might not be familiar with the problem, James Houston, who emerged after that Packers game, and he leads rookies in sacks, and he's played in 1/3 of the season. Think about that for a second. He's an animal. He's only 6'3",
gets so low.
He has the bend of someone who's a rookie. I mean, I'm excited for his future, but is James Houston
back-to-back 6th-round picks? This 6th-round pick, Malcolm Rodriguez and James Houston, this could be it's like a miracle almost to get those two guys in that round.
Yeah, you typically, this is unheard of, at least for the Lions too. We talk about the Lions always botching late round picks. It seems like that's Brad's strong suit. Like, he's finding guys, Amon-Ra, Malcolm, Kirby in the 3rd, and now we have James Houston. But Sam Flannel, David Bakhtiari is healthy.
Yes.
And it's going to be a big matchup for him because James Houston primarily lines up on that side where David Bakhtiari will be squaring off with him. How big of a test is it tonight for James Houston?
It is a huge test, but I believe in James Houston because think about this. In the past 6 weeks, a man who was cut before the season started, a man who was a 6th-round draft pick, is the single best sack artist in the NFL. He now leads all rookies in sacks with 8, and he's got them all in the past 6 games. He's basically been Nick Bosa when it comes to sacking the quarterback in the past 6 games. It's absolutely unbelievable.
You know what same old Lions would have been?
What?
After they cut him, someone else, like the Patriots, would have picked them up. But that just tells you it's turned. Maybe the luck has turned.
Yeah, a guy like Josh Pascal, he's been hurt almost the whole year. Guys like the Aquaras have been hurt for a lot of the season. John Kaminsky's missed that sometime. So it's created an opportunity for a guy like James Houston to emerge, and boy has he. He's going to get some votes for Defensive Rookie of the Year for just playing 6 games. But that being
amazing.
Well, he'll play in 7 after this. But that being said, David Bakhtiari has been for the past 5 to 10 years, one of the best left tackles in the NFL. He's not quite what he used to be. He's had a ton of injuries. I actually think that's a pretty favorable matchup for James Houston. And the fact that he didn't even play in the last matchup. And in the first matchup versus the Packers, the Lions only gave up 9 points. I know the Packers kind of drove the ball up and down the field and got a lot of turnovers, but still. I would honestly give the edge to James Houston in this one, even though David Bakhtiari is obviously a guy who's been great, not quite what he used to be.
A lot of confidence. Sam Flannel looking at James Houston. And I love that, by the way. I think Houston is deservedly so, gets all confidence from Lions fans. But the guy's an absolute monster. Hey, there's a reason why it's called the problem.
In the booth tonight will be Mike Tirico of Ann Arbor, Michigan. He loves his Lions. All right, I just want to say we have a broadcaster. I know everyone says broadcasters root against my team. He ain't rooting against your team. I can promise you that. He's going to play it right down the middle. But he's going to give a slight edge to the Lions. I'll promise you that.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I'll tell you what, we'll go to break. When we get back, I do want to talk about what the problems the Packers face with the Lions and vice versa. Just a little more about the matchup. Thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to drop a like on the stream, woodwardsports.com. The Detroit Lions pregame show brought to you by Swiss Insurance. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
Introducing the Planet Fitness Guide to getting that post-workout glow. Step 1. What's your why? More epic energy? Better sleep? Blow off steam? Step 2. Join Planet Fitness for just $10 a month and get moving in our clean and spacious clubs. Step 3. Bask in that post-workout glow. Join Planet Fitness today for just $10 a month.
Join today at any of the 50-plus Detroit area locations.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side.
Lemieux and McCarty, who've had a good knockdown drag out. There they go, right on the whistle. They were talking to one another.
Woodward Sports.
Welcome back. Look at Maz. We're coming right out of break. We're watching that third and fourth down execution by the great Baker Mayfield. Your thoughts on that, Mazawey? Because, listen, that's a tough break right there.
He should have been executed on those last 2 plays. Come on, Bake. 3-point game, still about 10 minutes to go.
We needed it.
Rams had a chance to drive a stake in their heart and couldn't get it done. So Seattle gets the ball back here.
Man, yeah, last 2 plays. I mean, it was a low throw by Baker, good play by the corner for the Seattle Seahawks. The next play just launches it up into heaven and just comes back down nowhere, out of bounds. Listen, we're still tuning in, 16-13, close game. Coming down the stretch in the fourth quarter. Hopefully the Rams can get it done. But before that, I do want to talk a little more about the matchup.
Before you do that,
what's up?
What do you think the Lions are going through right now? I mean,
watching this game?
Yeah, right now it's 6:46 at night. They're going to 8:15 is the game. Mm-hmm. They're probably out there stretching right now, just walking around, or maybe the stadium's got the game on. You know, I'd like to.
Probably does.
You probably have the game on, and I just. You know, at this point, I wish Braylon was sitting here because I could ask him what a player is going through at this time, because these guys got to have one eye on this TV at least, or does Dan Campbell have them so locked in, saying, "Don't even worry about what happens." Matter of fact, just block it all out. Maybe they'll even ask Lambeau Field to not have it on the Jumbotron. I don't know.
I did hear that brought up earlier today because of the whole AFC situation. They're all playing at the same time.
Yeah,
and
it's the way it should have been in these games.
Yeah, I heard someone bring it up, and we've all been to NFL games. You know they have scores up.
Right.
So, like, as a player, I'm sure you're aware of what's going on. They're warming up. I'm sure the score's up, and they're aware of the situation. I really hope these guys are just stay dialed in. Just stay locked in.
And if
this
you
will
watch,
take care of itself.
If you guys haven't checked it already, Amon-Ra St. Brown and his brother, they have a great podcast on 33rd Team, and they talk every week. And one thing they talked about was during the national championship game, how they were watching, like, in the locker room, watching the Natty. So if they watch the Natty, I get what you're saying, sure. Dan Campbell keeping them focused. You don't think they're watching a possible playoff implication game?
They have an idea.
These players care.
Yeah, well, they got to be pretty jacked right now watching this game.
No question. Everyone's a Rams fan.
Rams have nothing to play for. Nothing. Zero.
Yeah.
Pride, maybe.
Yeah.
Last game for their coach, possibly. And that would be big. If it is indeed his last game and they know it, maybe they are playing their ass off for him.
I mean, it looks like the Rams are playing for it. They don't really technically have to play for anything, but they're playing for something. Here they force a 4-and-out to the Seahawks. Defense for the Rams, man. I mean, even without, I don't think Aaron Donald's playing in this game, is he?
I don't think so.
Because he hasn't played in the last.
Rams are going to have good field position.
Even without AD, I mean, the secondary, Jalen Ramsey has his first 2-pick game since dating back to Jacksonville. I mean, they're playing well. We just need the Rams. Listen, Rams, please, Baker Mayfield.
Rams 59 yards away.
That's all we need
right now.
Now, regardless, it shouldn't take away from what the Lions want to do. I mean, you either A, want to beat the Packers to go to the playoffs, or B, beat the Packers and knock them out of the playoffs.
And have a winning record.
So, again, I don't think this changes anything the Lions do and how they approach the game. But, man, that would be a question to ask Braylon. As a player, does this change if the Seahawks win today? Does it affect them. I don't think too much to where they play, differently from what if the Rams were to win. But how does that weigh on a mind of a player who's going out there? Does the mentality change of, hey, we're going to the playoffs versus now just, hey, let's go spoil.
How does it not?
Let's go spoil these guys.
Yeah, how does it not? How does it not take a little bit away from you? I mean, you want to make the playoffs, win one, and especially the young guys.
Right.
They used to playing in college last year. Now they're in the pros.
Mm-hmm.
Aiden Hutchinson last year was a game away from winning a championship, but now he's got a game away from being in the playoffs. So it's got to at least bring you down a little. That's my opinion.
What about you guys?
I think, to be honest, with this Lions team, the way they've played and responded to the 1-6, I think no matter what, they were going to come out and they were going to want to beat this Packers team.
Yeah, it's more than just the playoffs.
And I do understand that it takes maybe a little bit, but just the way that Dan Campbell has kind of treated the week, it seems like, the comments we have heard from guys like, I brought up the Amon-Ra quote earlier on his podcast about how he said, no matter what happens, we're going to go win this game. So I do think they're going into this game no matter what. I don't think what happens in this game takes away anything. So,
by the way, they called running into the kicker.
Yeah, this is
on the punt. It was horrible, by the way. It was not running into the kicker. The kicker had his leg up for about 15 minutes, and one of the defenders obviously got pushed into him, and so Rams have a first. Seattle's got the ball back.
Of course they do. In Seattle, these are the circumstances that are given. Oh, here we go, and something's happening right now. Man, this game, 7 minutes to go, 16-13. And Geno Smith, as good of a year as Geno Smith had, by the way, which happened out of nowhere, for them to even be in the playoffs, I think says a lot too. I know with the Lions, we get a lot of credit for what the Lions have done. He's going to get paid somewhere, Maz.
Yeah.
So shout out to Geno Smith, by the way. There's the stat again. Aaron Rodgers, 18-1 in December and January under Matt LaFleur.
Yep. Not counting the playoffs.
And that's the Aaron Rodgers guy saying that, dude. Yeah. You're real about it.
I'm real about it. He wasn't great.
That's not including the playoffs,
was not
which
great.
Neil Rule would echo that Aaron Rodgers absolutely stinks. But you have history going up against you, and that's what I love about this. All the storylines you get for this game. You have the 3-27 record in the last 30 in Lambeau. You have Aaron Rodgers and Matt LaFleur, 18-1 in December and January. I mean, if there's ever a chance to kind of not rewrite history completely, but kind of push it in the right direction, Sam Flannel, today is the day.
Today, 100% is the day, because it really is crazy how good the Packers have been in December and January under the combination of Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers. And it makes sense because they're coming off of 3 consecutive 13-win seasons. But this year, they were dead and buried, and then they used December to kind of put them right back into the playoff mix to where if they win tonight, they're in. And that would be sort of a perfect... It's crazy how many demons that the Lions could vanquish tonight. They could vanquish probably the biggest villain in Detroit sports right now, and that's Aaron Rodgers. The team that has ruled the North, that has broken the Lions' hearts so many times. Even if the Lions have no chance at the playoffs, there's still so much motivation for them.
You ready for this, guys? I've got a shocking list. I've got a shocking inactive.
Oh no!
Who do you think it is?
Don't say it.
Jeff Okudah.
Jeff Okudah is
Jeff Okudah.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
You know what that tells me, Maz? They don't trust him.
Wow.
They did just bring up that practice player, too, that you mentioned earlier in the
That tells me simply, we do not trust you in a game like this.
I'll tell you what, though.
Your thoughts on it, Sam?
And I hate to say this because Jeff Okudah is a guy that I think we all root for, a guy who showed so much at the beginning of the season. He got benched against the Bears. The Bears, who have arguably the worst wide receiver core in all of the NFL, and they were missing Darnell Mooney. And I'm not saying that it was all Jeff Okudah's fault that the Lions' defense looked bad in the first quarter against the Bears, but still, he just hasn't been playing well. And the fact that, is he a healthy scratch then?
I think so. You said he's an inactive as in healthy scratch. Yeah, healthy. Yeah,
that wasn't on the injured list.
That is a terrible, terrible sign. You never want to be a healthy scratch, especially in a secondary. That isn't great.
I know.
I mean, who's going to play for him? I mean, Mike Hughes. Mike Hughes is okay, but like Mike Hughes, Jerry Jacobs. Like if you can't sneak your way into that cornerback rotation, it's a bad sign. I take no pleasure in saying it. It's just reality.
And on top of that, Sam, you know what they're telling me? They have more confidence in Ermanni Awarrior. And I love Ermanni, by the way. And I would keep saying it because I don't mind being wrong. I said this at the beginning of the season. He was the most underrated player on the defense. He's had a terrible season. And the fact that you trust him over the flashes Jeff has shown, it's got to mean that he's at least made progress. And Jeff Okudah's done the complete opposite. Here's the inactive list. Guard Coyote Iawasika is out. Michael Brockers, defensive lineman. Austin Bryant, running back Jamar Jefferson, corner Jeff Okudah, and then you know the two rest. I mean, Craig Reynolds is inactive, and Ross Pierce-Bacher is out as well.
Michael Brockers leads the league, I think, in inactives.
Is that a stat of its own?
I just made that up, but he's on every week. So he's got to be leading the freaking league in inactives.
Booner,
don't even know what to say anymore.
I want your thoughts
What a waste
on it.
of money.
Just Jeff Okudah, like, what's the first thoughts you come to your head when you see that? Jeff Okudah, inactive, healthy scratch.
First thought is just that's not good. Honestly, that's the only thing I can think of right away is just it's not a great look. The fact that, like Sam said, you get benched in the Bears game, and then come out and this is the situation. And like you said, Jeff, like it's not like we have a great room there. Like our corners, it's not like the greatest in the NFL right now. So yeah, I don't know what to kind of put that together. That was very, very shocking. I did not see that one coming at all.
Okay, so here's the update on Jeff. So I want to read this. Kyle Meineke does great work for the Detroit Lions as well. He tweeted out, Jeff Okudah is out for the Lions game tonight in Green Bay. He suffered a late week elbow injury that limited him at practice on Friday. He was officially questionable to play. So there you go. First initial thought, we thought he was a healthy scratch. It appears he's not. He suffered an elbow injury late in the game last week. In practice on Friday.
That's not that's not as
so
big of a
not
deal
as
at
bad
all.
as I initially thought. I'm thinking he's a healthy scratch. No, it is not the case. He did get injured, but still, he's a player you'd like to see on the field.
But it kind of also speaks to how far kind of Jeff Okudah has fallen lately, that when I see that Jeff Okudah isn't playing in the game, I'm not thinking like, oh crap, they have no chance. I'm kind of thinking, I'm still pretty confident in the line. I mean, I hate to say it. I take no pleasure in saying this, like I said, but Jeff Okudah missing, you're not just thinking the sky is falling, whereas if other players were, you'd be more worried. But Jeff Okudah, and speaking of that injured list, like often during this great stretch of football the Lions have been playing, I'm looking at it and being like, I'm not worried at all. It's looking like we're a healthy. That's the thing about the Lions. They're not just playing better, they're healthy. All of the players that we need to go into Green Bay and win, they're all playing.
Yep.
So that's a good sign looking at that injury report.
It's a good sign, but it's also a bad sign that Kenneth Walker just converted a 4th and inches. He got 15 yards, I think about 15 on that run. By the way, Kenneth Walker, tremendous player. I mean, let's be honest here. A guy who came out last year, drafted in the second round out of Michigan State. We knew how talented he was, but now watching him in a big game, I mean, there he goes again.
Good player.
Yeah, he will, no doubt about it. Seattle, here comes Geno Smith scrambling, and he might have gotten the first down. I think he did. Ooh, there you have it. 3 minutes and 37 seconds left. The Seahawks are in the red zone right now.
In the red zone. They're on the 2-yard line.
Basically.
Things have turned
they're on the
really
goal.
quick.
They're basically on the goal line right now.
Things have turned
16-13. They're down 3 points. Not looking good
Rams got to start
Lions
using their
fans
timeouts here.
Yeah, no doubt about
tell
it.
the Seahawks to run a Philly special or do a quick handoff to a converted linebacker. Then maybe the Lions will be okay.
First down, first and goal. Seattle's, I don't know why they're rushing so quick. I mean, the clock, they should be milking the clock.
Yeah.
They're like running up to the line. I'd be taking it down 45 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
We'll
do
see
you
what
guys
they do
remember Baker Mayfield's first game with the Rams? That comeback drive, the 98-yard or 97-yard.
We need that type of drive.
We need Baker.
We need Josh McDaniels coaching the other side, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, you ain't wrong
We
there,
need the
man.
Baker Mayfield from the first week he got in L.A., though.
Yeah, and here we go, too. I mean...
See, they're running. I mean, they are taking it down.
They're taking it down. And again, this all started, a big call, by the way, roughing the punter. I mean, that kind of...
that was a horse shit call.
That shifted the entire... I mean, you're right, though. It shifted the entire momentum of this game right now.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and there you have it.
I feel like I'm watching Michigan TCU.
Here we go.
You would think the NFL wants the Sunday Night Football to be a winning game for
Wait
both
till you
teams.
guys see that roughing. Just wait.
Yeah, this was terrible. And there you have it. And we're going to go to break when we get back. We're going to talk a little more around the NFL, talk about Jalen Hurts, because we were on the show last time, and we had an interesting conversation about who should be MVP. And I'm not saying I'm right, but I'm also not saying I'm not right. Okay, we're going to go to break here when we get back. Thank you guys for tuning in. Detroit Lions pregame show here on the Woodward Sports Network. See you after the break.
I love Woodward Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Beverly Hills Golf, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
By now you know me, Christina Gennari, as the obvious choice in real estate. And you know my website, soldchristina.com, as your #1 resource for buying or selling your home. Myself, along with my amazing staff, pride ourselves on making your home buying and selling experience a relaxing and easy one. Come see why we are the obvious choice. Christina Gennari at soldchristina.com, the obvious choice in real estate.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Can't get enough Woodward Sports content? Head over to woodwardsports.com right now for up-to-date sports articles and great entertainment news. We have the best writers, bloggers, and coverage all at your fingertips. Head to woodwardsports.com right now to experience all Woodward Sports has to offer.
What's going on, everybody? Neil Rule with Woodward Sports. It's week 18 of Making the Cut. We're live at Lady Jane's World Headquarters in Birmingham, Michigan. We're going to find out, are Lions fans confident going up against the hated Green Bay Packers in week 18 with a playoff spot on the line? Now, Sudi, you're very confident the Lions against the Packers. Aaron Rodgers doesn't scare you?
No, 100% Lions defense.
Are they going to catch a break? Are the Rams going to beat the Seahawks? Are your Lions going to the playoffs?
I think the Lions are going to go to the playoffs.
Sudi's a confident man, everybody. Here with Lucas, big Lions-Packers game this weekend coming up, week 18. How much confidence do you have in your Lions?
I got a lot of confidence, and mainly it's going to be running that offense through Jamal Williams. I think he's going to come back in Lambeau. I think he remembers what the Packers did to him. I think he's going to get at least 85 on the ground, and I think if Jamal Williams, if they get him rushing 4 or 5 yards to carry our offense consistently, it shows up. So it's going to come down to the defense. And after last week, I'm liking our chances.
What about Aaron Rodgers? Does he scare you?
No. Aaron Rodgers, he's at the tail end of his career.
What about Aaron Rodgers' hair? Is it greasy?
I think it's just disgusting, kind of just like his personality. It's bold. It's not quite the taste you want. It's kind of just overwhelming Aaron Rodgers' taste.
Sitting here with Sam, our guy. Sam, week 18, Lions-Packers. Got a lot of confidence in your Lions?
Oh, I do definitely have some confidence. And I'm also confident that this isn't the Green Bay Packer team of yesteryear. Aaron Rodgers isn't the same player he used to be. I think that this defense can get some stops. And you see what the offense was able to do last week on the ground, through the air. This is an elite offense. I think the Lions have a very, very good chance to go into Lambeau and end the Packers season.
What about Aaron Rodgers and his greasy hair? Could he come to Lady Jane's and maybe get that cleaned up a little bit?
I mean, if he needs somewhere, come to this Lady Jane's corporate headquarters in Birmingham, Michigan. If he needs a haircut, I mean, he definitely needs a haircut. This is the place to go.
Well, there's two things we know for sure. There's a lot of belief in the Detroit Lions against the Green Bay Packers, and people just don't like Aaron Rodgers. Back to you guys.
We're coming down to the final stretch of the Detroit Lions pregame show
Ramsey
here on Woodward Sports Network. And guys, what a game we have in front of us. The Seahawks facing the Rams. The Seattle Seahawks they were essentially on the goal line. 3 opportunities, nothing. Thanks to Jalen frickin' Ramsey. The Rams have a chance, man, as it's tied 16-16. Coming down the stretch. Can Baker Mayfield do for us what he did for the Rams in his first start? Maz, you have the floor.
I certainly hope so. If only Josh McDaniels can be transported here to the sideline of the Seattle Seahawks.
Just to choke
and get it done. What's up, Boo?
I was going to say, hey, if Baker goes down and pulls something like this off for the Detroit Lions, I don't know if anyone can say anything to you about Baker Mayfield for a while, just on that fact. If he does that for the Lions, I promise you, I will never bring up Baker Mayfield and what you said ever again.
Thank you.
Never again.
Well, he's got to do his job here. This could be it. Baker's last hurrah and Sean McVay's last play calls as a Rams head coach could be right now coming up in Seattle with the 12th man. You know it's loud at that stadium.
No doubt about it. I mean, to be in a situation right now where, again, we talk about the Lions players watching this game, there's no way in hell they're not checking this score. This game is neck and neck. It's how I'd hope it would go. I didn't want the Seahawks to take care of the Rams that easily, and you see this Rams defense, they're fighting their asses off. Specifically Jalen Ramsey, who's making some big plays. We'll keep you guys updated with that conversation. But I do want to just pose this question as we give updates. Jalen Hurts, no pun intended, but he was hurt 2 games out with that shoulder injury. And Gardner Minshew, another backup that I tend to like. Now he's back. Jalen Hurts, MVP race. I know we had this conversation a handful of weeks ago, and I brought up my guy was always Patrick Mahomes. I felt like he was the MVP. He was first in multiple statistics. If you talk about most valuable player, to me, it's Patrick Mahomes because of what is around him. You lose Tyreek Hill, and they're still first in the AFC.
He's the heavy favorite right now.
It's unbelievable.
To win MVP.
Now with Jalen being injured, guys, it's looking like it's Patrick Mahomes' award.
And you can't blame him either. I mean, the guy is a superstar, and he's having one of his best years quietly. And Sam, you could tell me about the stats. He is leading. I mean, he's having some of his best years in some of the categories on the quarterbacks.
Yeah, he's leading the NFL in touchdown passes, passing yards, and QBR, and he's doing it while losing Tyreek Hill in the offseason and while leading the Kansas City Chiefs to a number 1 seed.
Yep.
To me, Jalen Hurts lost out on the opportunity while missing those games.
He did.
And Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the NFL. I would argue the best player in the NFL. I would argue I've never seen anybody play the position better in my life than Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
And he's having, I wouldn't say his first or second best season of his career. The numbers he's putting up are staggering, and the fact that it's leading directly to winning and they lost their best wide receiver in the offseason, it should be Patrick Mahomes unanimously.
So I want to read this stat too, the courtesy of Fox. Baker Mayfield, 8 career drives in the fourth quarter or overtime to win games.
Okay.
I mean, hey, we
just need to get to 35.
If we ever need someone to cook, it's going to have to be Baker in the kitchen.
Let's make it 9.
Hopefully we can get it to 9.
Let me bring you up to date on some of the games that are in progress.
Break it down for us.
How about the Broncos? The Broncos scored 31 today, and they're still playing. They're leading the Chargers.
Woo!
31-20. Chargers going in as the 5 seed, and it looks like they're going to be playing the Jacksonville Jaguars next week. One of those games. Saturday, you have 3 games on Saturday. 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday, and 1 on Monday night. They don't know how it breaks down until tonight. We'll find out tonight who's playing when. But the Giants are going to lose here. 19-9. Eagles are beating the Giants, so the Eagles will probably have that number 1 seed in the NFC. 49ers all over the Cardinals, 38-13. Here's a guy, they have not lost, guys, since they got Christian McCaffrey. So here's your hot teams. The 49ers, they've won 8 in a row. The Bengals have won 8 in a row. The Lions are 7-2 down the stretch, hopefully 8-2. And the Packers have won 4 in a row as well. Those are your most red-hot teams coming down the stretch. Right now, Rams and Seahawks, we've been telling you about it. 2-minute warning, 16 all. How about the Cowboys laying an egg today? 23-6. The Commanders on top of the Cowboys, 23-6. Meaningless game for Washington, but Dallas, I mean, they're going in to the playoffs like this. That can't be.
No.
That can't be.
You know what
the doctor ordered.
Turns up for that. Tom Brady, if he has to play the Cowboys at home,
but he lost too.
Yeah, but he got taken out pretty early when they had the lead.
But to your point, Booner, I think it's a good. I mean, for Tom Brady, as quick as he gets the ball out, like doesn't that kind of neutralize this Cowboys pass rush in a way? I mean, both those teams Tampa? I would call, and I use the word fraud very lightly. I think a couple teams in the NFL are frauds to me. 1, it's the Vikings. 2, it's the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And 3, who's kind of a tweener because we've seen flashes and we've seen bad, is the Cowboys. I don't know. And this is why I have so much faith, and this game means so much to me personally. I know you guys as well. The Lions just have to get in the dance. Just get in the dance. And again, if they face San Francisco or Philly, now we're talking about some other things. I mean, those teams are incredible. But besides that, the NFC to me is wide open.
I think did the Vikes not lock up the number 2 seed?
They may have with
Because
the
they
win
won.
today. I believe they actually
It's either
did.
them or the Niners.
I think it is
for
the
number 2
Vikings.
seed.
That's why they benched Kirk Cousins the
All
second
right, so
half.
the Vikings are the number 2 seed. That means the Lions, if they win today, will be in Minnesota next week.
Which is hard. You cannot tell me you're not confident in that matchup, Sam Flannel.
Oh, I'd be 100% confident because they destroyed the Vikings, even though it was a bigger blowout than the score indicated in the game at Ford Field, and they should have won at Minnesota. That was one of those Dan Campbell blows the game sort of games. And this Vikings team, like we always say, and I think we all agree, fraud. What just happened? Oh, boy.
Drop pass.
Oh, boy. I just
Easily at 15, 20.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, Sam.
You're good.
I do think,
look at that.
I do want to throw it out there, though, real quick. I do think if the 49ers win today, I believe they will have the tiebreaker. If I did it correctly, just because I don't believe they played each
They are
other.
going to win. It's 38-13.
Yeah, I don't believe they played each other, but then you go to conference
Come
record.
on, Baker, out of the pocket! Oh, my gosh! It's 4th, and I think it's 3. 4th and 2, 4th and 3.
Are they going for it?
Oh, my goodness. 4th and 2.
No, you can't.
You have to punt.
No,
They
you
got to
gotta
punt this ball, man. Both of these back-to-back dropbacks by Baker. That one, he looked like he had some hope there. Wasn't able to convert. Man, this game is close. 4th and 2. Minute 30 left.
Let's see what McVay's going to do on his last
What
day
is
as a Rams
McVay
coach.
doing?
They're punting.
They're punting. They got a
You
minute
never
left. Seattle has no timeouts. Time is ticking. This game could go to OT.
Oh, my gosh.
What a game. 16-16, a minute left. They punt the ball. Seahawks, come on.
Oh, boy.
All right, here
Muff
we
it.
go.
Please muff it. Oh, and it's in the... Oh, my God.
No, 25-yard line.
Oh, my God.
It's a touchback.
That punt was inches away from the Seahawks starting on the 1-yard line. Inches! Look at that. Oh, the replay. It's inches.
Why couldn't it stop?
Oh, my God.
How did that guy not get that ball?
Well, he was running full speed.
Yeah, but I mean,
Doesn't matter.
Just
It doesn't matter. It is what it
do
is.
something.
That was a hell of a punt.
Wow.
Hell of a punt.
Man.
Seattle will have it on the 25.
And so instead of the 1-yard line, Maz, they got it on the 20-yard line. No timeouts.
It
man.
would have been inside the one.
What are we doing here? As Lions fans, you watch a game like this, it is Lion-esque, right? The refs screwed them, and on top of that, you're an inch away from possibly changing the entire outcome of this ball game.
He's right. The
they
20
need every
line.
yard.
Thank you. 20-yard line.
They need every yard. And here we go, Seattle
Let that clock
on the move.
run. Let that clock
49
run.
seconds left.
Tick, tick, tick. Where's Chris Berman? Tick, 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 tick,
my gosh. Seattle's going. This is a field goal to win. Time is ticking. 39 seconds left. Here we go. Geno Smith coming out of the pocket. He's scrambling. He's going. To the 40 to 50.
Oh, and 15. Watch.
Oh, Geno looks hurt.
I bet you they got a late hit. Yep, late hit.
Late hit? Well, come on.
Seattle will be an easy field goal range in 2 plays.
And that's it.
Wow. That's roughing.
No way in
It's
hell.
roughing.
I don't know if that
Geno just ran into him.
I don't know if that was a late hit. He was in bounds. And
It's roughing.
I don't know if it was. I think it was.
Geno ran into
There it is. Roughing.
this.
Roughing the passer.
Okay. I don't get it. Ramsey is rightfully so complaining. Geno ran into Ramsey, and he's called. Look at this replay. They're playing it right now. Geno running down the field. Look at Ramsey standing still, and he runs. Oh, my gosh.
He didn't have to put his shoulder. It was out of bounds.
Oh.
It was a bad play.
I mean, he wasn't like you can't say he was.
He was out of bounds. He was out of bounds. He was out of bounds.
Ramsey, he shouldn't have done what he did.
That's kind of the problem with Jalen Ramsey. He is a great player. He's a
he forgets.
It's a chip on his shoulder kind of guy.
Yes.
He's a red ass.
He was way out of bounds.
Yes.
Ramsey
Way out
giveth,
of bounds.
Ramsey taketh.
We're going to have right now, I think,
He-
a 40-yard field goal as it sits right now.
He
That's
gave us
heartbreaking.
some great
Yep.
plays, and then he gives us that. Seahawks have 30 seconds left. Time stopped. They're going to have a chance to win this game. Wow.
What a game,
Let's see where they mark it. I think it's going to be marked around the 25-yard line.
This game has gone exactly how you probably could have expected. A lot of interesting calls, a lot of interesting plays, and you're probably going to have a 19-16 finish.
You never know. He might miss it.
With
Might
the
get
Seahawks
blocked.
winning. Well, hopefully.
How great would a block run back be?
Oh, my God.
I mean, that would be the icing on the cake at this point. It really would. We're going to go to break here. I know seconds are very, very valuable, but when we come back, we're going to give our game predictions for the Lions taking on the Packers and kind of sum up the result of this game here. Thank you guys for tuning in.
Start it on the chat right now. Let's have your predictions. We'll read them.
Yep, start them off. We'll read them. Drop a like, support the channel, and check out the website, articles, merchandise. They have it all, woodwardsports.com. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you in a short while.
My name is Lee. I've lost 35 pounds on the Custom Health Center program. So the 3 biggest benefits that I've gotten from this program has been I'm not snoring anymore, I have a lot of energy, it's great, and oh, by the way, look at this. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding.
Call us at 844-789-THIN or visit CustomHealthCenters.com for a free consultation and get started for as little as $5 a day.
What's a winter wonderland if you can't shop, eat, and play? Lucky for you, you can do it all at the Downtown Detroit Markets, Cadillac Lodge, and the new winter version of the Monroe Street Midway, all located just across the street from Campus Martius Park. Find the fun at deckedoutdetroit.com.
Maddie Miller here with your Detroit Lions pregame report. The season finale is upon us, and what a better way to go out than on prime time. The Lions kick off against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field on Sunday Night Football for their first and only primetime appearance of the season. Both teams come into this game fighting for the win. The Packers and the Lions both have an 8-8 record and are aiming to not only go out with a winning record, but also a playoff run. The Lions are banking on the LA Rams to win their matchup with the Seattle Seahawks in order for even a chance at the playoffs. Regardless of the Rams winning, the Lions have made it very clear this week that playoffs on the line or not, they are still going to fight tooth and nail for the win. Deshaun Elliott returns this week for the Lions after missing 2 games due to a shoulder injury. The Lions elevated running back Jamar Jefferson and cornerback Jaron Williams from the practice squad to the actives list yesterday. However, Jefferson did make the inactives list this afternoon, along with Jeff Okudah and Craig Reynolds. The Rams-Seahawks game is not quite over, so we'll have to wait for the final score of that game, but this is a huge opportunity for the Lions. They significantly turned it around this year, and hungry doesn't do it. They are starving for a win tonight. That's all I have for you right now. I'll keep you posted as more comes in.
He missed it! He missed the field goal.
We stay alive, boys!
Jason Myers missed
Thank
it wide right.
Jason Myers.
Did he hit the post?
For doinking a 45-yard field goal to win the game.
We're going to overtime,
We couldn't
guys.
have asked for a better finish.
I mean,
We're going to overtime.
We're going to overtime, guys.
Oh, my gosh.
I'm so happy I'm taping this game. I'm so freaking happy.
Oh, my gosh.
Sean McVay excited. Here
Wow.
we go. Here we go.
Remember, guys, a tie is just as good for the Lions. We should probably mention that.
Yes,
Thank
you are correct.
10 minutes in overtime. 10 minutes in overtime.
My heart is pumping. I've never been this nervous for a team that, other than the Lions, in my entire life. And here we go. They're doing the coin toss.
This is the biggest coin toss
I know.
in Detroit Lions history right now.
You are absolutely correct
the
right now,
biggest
Booner.
coin toss.
This coin toss is insanely important. We need the Rams to win this coin toss. And here we go. They're picking right now as we speak. Bobby Wagner, please bring the luck. Choose the right one. I don't know. I'm probably going. Tails never fails. Roll with tails here. Let's see. What a finish! I mean, we're sitting here during the break watching. Here we go. And Seattle gets the.
It's okay.
Let's get a stop
Field
here.
goal don't win.
Let's get a stop.
Okay, here we go.
Seahawks offense hasn't been good
They haven't been great, but the Rams offense has been stagnant in the second half. That's the problem.
Wow. I don't know what to say right now. This game is incredible. I don't know.
It's the only way a Lions fan should watch a game. It's suffering. It's just the way it is.
This sums up fandom of the Detroit Lions, doesn't it?
We must suffer. We suffer for our soup.
Yeah.
We suffer.
They put us all the way to the edge to overtime. Yeah. And I don't even want to go there right now. My heart's going right now.
And guys, if you can, I do want to get you guys' thoughts as they go to commercial about this matchup today. I want your score predictions. Give me the reason why you think the Packers will win, or you think the Detroit Lions will take the Packers out on the road. I'll start. as much as I think, and I think people have talked about this, what the Lions have done this year is more impressive to me than the Packers. I just do. I think the winning streak they've went on, the teams they've beaten, the teams they competed with, it's more impressive than what the Packers are doing. But it's still Aaron Rodgers. It's still the Packers. And like you said, Maz, I thought you made a great point. If Devontae was here, this would still be essentially the same team last year who won 13 games. If we're talking defensively, they still have a ton of talent. It's such a big test for these young players, and as much as I want to have confidence in them, I do think a bit of it will be reality. And I think this game will be close throughout the entirety of it, but something tells me they're just going to fall short. Now, it doesn't take away, again, from the success they've had all season, and there's still plenty of optimism moving forward. And that's all I ask for is a good game for the Detroit Lions. Nothing that you have to turn off in the third quarter, preferably. I'm going to go with the Packers. I think they win this game. I'll say 27-24. I'll give them a field goal. I think it'll be close. But at the end of the day, I just can't sit here and look at the camera and say, undoubtedly, the Lions will win. It's hard right now, Maz. Even Jared Goff, as well as he's played, 15 touchdowns, 0 interceptions over the last 8 games. Every good streak has to eventually come to an end, and I think that's going to be a big part of today is both those quarterbacks who could take care of the football. And I think tonight that's going to be the thing to watch, but I'm going to give the slight edge to the Packers.
All right.
And maybe I'm jinxing it. Hopefully I am.
Earlier today, Maddie reached out to all of us. We all give her predictions, so she puts it in her column. And I picked 27-20 Packers. I'm going to use a Darren McCarty caveat here. It'll be 27-20 Packers only if Seattle wins this game here. If, by a chance, Baker brings down the Rams and they somehow freak out a win and knock out the Seahawks, I have the Lions winning this game 24-20.
Yeah.
That's my caveat. Flat out, if Seattle loses, I got the Lions to win.
Yeah.
If the Rams win, I got the Lions to win.
What say you, Booner?
Yeah, I mean, it's tough, and I mean it's kind of split room right now. So I do really like the Lions tonight. No matter what happens in this game, I've said it this whole show is I really do think that Dan Campbell and these guys are ready to go. I think these guys have said it in press conferences all week that they are coming with the chip on their shoulder to win this game, whether it's to knock them out of the playoffs or it's to get into the playoffs. They're going to come with that same energy. So I like the Detroit Lions to win this game 27-24 and beat the Packers in Lambeau. And whether you're going into next season on a positive note or we're heading to the playoffs, one of the two. But I do think they win this game by 3.
I'll tell you what. The fact that the Seahawks already missed that field goal that could have won the game, it tells me there is something cosmic going on in the air. A lot of what has happened in the second half of the season, the Lions have sort of been transferred with like the Brady luck, with the teams doing stupid things while the Lions are clean. And I just think the Lions will be able to run the football. The Packers don't have a good run defense. And I think that the Lions defense is closer to what they've been when they've been on this stretch than to the team that we saw at Carolina early on in the season against Seattle or against Philadelphia. And I think the Lions, I think they'll go into this game with the playoffs on the line because even if there's a tie in the Seahawks-Rams, the Lions win and they're in. And I think that it's just one of those sort of magical things, one of those magical rides that the Lions are on. I know it's not super analytical or anything, but there is just something in the air right now.
I like what you're saying.
The Seahawks missed like a 45-yard field goal that would have won the game, which would have put them in the driver's seat. Weird things are happening. I got the Lions.
And they're punting.
Yeah, I was going to say, speaking of weird things, Seattle will now punt 4th and 7.
I thought they were going to throw a flag for roughing the passer.
I would not be surprised. Smith looks banged up, but you see, look at this pass rush. Bobby Wagner is like, hey, we're not losing a second game to my former team, the Seahawks here. We'll see what Baker can do, Maz. I think that's going to be what to watch. We're going to end the show here.
No, we're not.
You want to watch the final drive?
We're watching this.
Okay, that's with the Omaha, the Peyton Manning Omaha.
Hey, shout out to the chat, too. They're sticking it out with that.
You know what?
If they're sticking it out, we're sticking it out.
You know what? You're right, Maz. We'll hold on. Here we go. Baker Mayfield. Ooh, with a chance, 9 minutes left, overtime. Can he do it?
Can we stop talking about Baker for a second? This game is going kind of like I thought it might. Baker Mayfield has done relatively nothing, but the running game has Cam Akers has over 100 yards, and they held Seattle to 16 points.
Hey, shut your mouth.
We need Baker Mayfield on their side right now. We don't need any of that negative energy. Come on,
you're going to throw out bad juju out in the universe?
We don't need that right now.
You should be loving Baker Mayfield right now.
I will.
Keep it going. How about you, Fletch? Put your mic on. Put your damn mic on and tell us what you've been like. Because I've never. Let me tell you something about Fletch, everybody. Here's a guy that came into our show. I don't know. How long you been with us now, Fletch?
I think I'm coming up on a year with the network and about 8-10 months with the show.
He didn't even like football till he got with us. Probably didn't watch a lot of football. Now the son of a gun is like a football savant. He watches it. He loves it. And he's, on every play, man. I watched you grow into the football fan I'm proud of. What's your take on this game, and who's going to win this game, Fletch?
And why is it the Rams?
Okay, I'll give a little bit of a precursor to this. Before the season started, I made a bet with Ryan Ermanni on the show that I would dye my hair blonde like a high school player making the playoffs if the Lions made the playoffs. Then they went 1-6.
Alex Anzalone.
Like, there's no way. There's no way. They're not making the playoffs. I'm fine. And now I'm sitting here with my hair on the line, and I don't even care.
Oh, my gosh! No! Baker, maybe.
Baker
just need another stop. We just need another. We need this defense.
Hey, he just missed. That could have been a touchdown. That could have been a touchdown.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
He missed it by like that much.
I know.
Sorry, Fletch, to cut you off.
I'm sorry, Fletch.
No, I watched that too. I'm paying attention.
Okay, Seattle has intercepted the ball, but they are in their own territory right now.
Can we at least all admit that Baker Mayfield has been awful in this game?
Just
has nothing to do with
Look
him.
at this.
Cam Akers in the defense.
Was that
Quandre Diggs?
Oh, yeah, that was underthrown, severely underthrown. Van Jefferson tried to backpedal for it, and there you have it. And by the way, how ironic, Quandre Diggs. Quandre Diggs with possibly a game-sealing interception.
How could you do that to us, Q? How?
Oh,
we need a huge stop here.
Okay, they're on their own 35-yard line. Next score wins. Field goal wins the game. So, Fletch, continue your football trajectory.
I think they stop him here. They've been stopping them all game. Gino's going to screw it
the
up.
fourth quarter,
they're using their timeouts. I still think the Rams have it in them. And then, if the Rams win, I give the Lions 30-28 to the Packers. I think the Lions take it, and they beat them in Lambeau. Dan Campbell proves that he was what we all thought he was last season.
Hey, Chargers are coming back. 31-28 Broncos with about 3 minutes to go in that game. You know about the Seahawks. The Commanders 2 minutes away from beating the Cowboys 26-6. 22-16 the final. Eagles beat the Giants, so the Philly is the number one seed in the NFC. And the 49ers, 38-13 winners. Does that give them the number 2 slot?
I believe so, and I'll wait until the standings kind of adjust. But I do believe that it would be the Niners.
That would suck because the Vikings and the Niners have the exact record.
And I do want to throw it out there, too. I think in this situation with this Rams game, I think you go for a tie the way Baker and this offense has been. I don't know if they can go down and get a field goal or a touchdown.
They can. He just missed that throw.
They have not done anything
Van Jefferson
in a
was
few
backing
quarters.
up. That was his fault, by the way. That was Van Jefferson's fault.
What are you talking about? Man, that ball...
Come on, man. I'm just fooling around.
Throw
me a crumb. Throw me a crumb.
Maz, we're very sensitive right now.
I know.
Because you know how we are. We're very passionate.
They just got a first down. Son of a gun.
One minute we like Baker, the next minute we completely hate him. That's how it's going to go this entire evening. There you go.
Seattle is at the 46-yard line of L.A. First down. 46-yard line.
Yeah, I like this. Simo in the chat says Lions are going to get exhausted if they're watching this, LOL.
That's a good point, man. That is an excellent point.
They're exerting all their energy watching this game.
That might have just done it, that run right there.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt.
K9?
This might be game.
Yeah,
there
it was
goes
exciting.
K9.
I mean, the missed field goal.
I mean, guys, how ironic is all of this, right? Quandre gets the interception. Kenneth Walker probably puts a nail in it. I mean, come on, you see the correlation here? I mean, we got Quandre, former Lion, Kenneth Walker, Michigan State alumni. What's up with these guys from Michigan just completely flipping us the bird in this last couple plays?
Down to the 25-yard line right now.
Here we go.
Second down, 25-yard line. They got a 42-yard shot here if they want to take it, but they'll just play 2 more plays here. So we're taking it to the end. We're gonna block this field goal. I'm telling you right now. The Rams are gonna block this freaking field goal. In case you missed it earlier today, guys, Bills beat the Patriots 35-23. How about the guy that they got from the Colts, Nyheim Hines? They get him at the trade deadline, and the guy returns 2 kicks for touchdowns. The opening kickoff for that, DeMar Hamlin takes it to the house.
Nyheim Hines just had the single greatest game by a kick returner in NFL history. Just given the stakes, it was 2 kickoff returns. You know how rare that is to get 1?
Yep. Right. There's only been 4 all year in the NFL.
That's unbelievable.
And you saw 2 of them today. So Buffalo is the number 1 seed regardless. Bengals beat the Ravens. Guess what? They get a rematch next week in the wild card. The Bills will play the Dolphins. That's right. Miami beats the Jets today. Barely. They kick a field goal with 8 seconds to go, and they get a late safety to cover the spread. Go figure there. So that will be the Dolphins and the Bills. You remember that from a few weeks ago in the snow in Buffalo. That was a hell of a game. Steelers gave it their best. They beat the Browns today. They finished 9-8, but they are out of the playoffs. And that should bring you up to date as we're here. And Seahawks is running out the clock right now, and they're going to kick a chip shot field goal here any second now, unfortunately, and ruin the Lions' playoff.
A blocked field goal is all the hope
that's our only hope. We need a bad snap, or we need a blocked field.
Or we need Jason Myers to just gag another one, which he doesn't typically do. They're on the 15-yard line. It's looking like the Seahawks. Unless, given everything goes right, obviously the Seahawks have this one in the bag, but you never know.
What do you guys like in the AFC playoffs? How about Bills against the Dolphins? Who do you like?
Bills. You know that answer.
You like the Bills?
How about
Bills are going to be hard to beat this year.
How about this? What team do you have coming out of each conference? For me, it's the Chiefs. I've been saying this for a little bit. Something about the Chiefs. They're going to have home field advantage, and Patrick Mahomes playing some of his better football. The Chiefs, man.
Booner said it. The Bengals are one of the hottest teams.
I do.
They're going to be there, but no one's beating the Bills this year. I got news for you.
I don't think the Bills go on and win it. I think it's Bills 49ers Super Bowl. Okay. Is my pick as of right now.
Sounds like a great one.
But I do think that would be the Super Bowl.
Seattle lining up. They kick a chip shot field goal. We will let you know here because you know the Rams are going to ice them.
Here we go.
Ice a guy from 30 yards out. This is less than an extra point for Jason Myers. Let's get the exact yardage for you once they back it.
32 yards.
Back it up, and here comes the timeout by McVay.
32-yard attempt.
Okay, so here's your timeout. It is shorter than an extra point.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny too? Jason Myers, the first time he missed the field goal to win the game, when they iced him, he didn't take a practice kick.
Okay.
So it's funny he waited and then he missed. Like, hey,
Sam, who do you like in the AFC now? I know your Chiefs are there, but can they beat Cincy? Can they beat the Bills?
Yeah, I think the Chiefs come out of the AFC, and I think the 49ers come out of the NFC.
I'm with you, Sam.
Although the Bengals, they have had the Chiefs' numbers, so they're not scared to go into Arrowhead.
The only way the Bills don't host a game is if they play the Chiefs.
Yep.
That will be at a neutral field.
Yep.
Yeah.
If they play the Chiefs. Other than that, everyone holds serve. Cincy will host Baltimore. I think that's the best bet of the years.
Yeah.
I don't even know if Lamar Jackson will play. Here we go. Jason Myers set it up. From 32 yards out,
lining up
to eliminate the Lions. Here we go.
To put the Seahawks potentially in the playoffs
Miss
here.
it, you son of a gun.
And it's good. There you have it.
Seattle did their job.
Oh my God!
Let's just beat the Packers now.
Now the opportunity is you got an opportunity to knock the Packers out. So that's what the focus will remain on. I do want to say before
I'll update my score, 27-20 Packers.
About to say, I'm changing my pick to the Packers too. I hate to say it.
You can't watch that game and come out and play great. You can't.
Yeah,
you're human.
It's going to be interesting. Got a lot of faith in what the Lions can do today, but I just want to say
Can I change my score?
Yeah.
Everyone's jumping off the ship.
34 Lions, 24 Packers.
Oh, you upped it. Okay, I like that.
I'm not hopping off this bandwagon.
Good for you, Boone.
The Detroit Lions.
And by the way, nobody in this room doesn't hope you're right.
That's right.
I will say that.
We all want them to win.
Let's have a night. Let's finish the night off well.
And from Jeff Iafrate, your host, Tom Mazawey, my guy, Sam Flannel, Booner, Fletch, thank you so much, man, for taking the time to help us out.
Thanks for coming in for us.
He's coming in clutch.
Adam Feel Better.
And to Adam Feel Better, by the way, and to every single one of you that tuned in from start to finish, thank you. Subscribe, like the video, and tune in Monday to hear all of our
Forget Monday.
recaps.
Tune in tonight for Stick and Answer, live from Stick's basement.
Yes, they will have a showing during the game. Go check check that out. We'll be live during the game, Woodward Sports YouTube. To everybody in the studio, everybody at the network, thank you guys for tuning in. This is the Woodward Sports Detroit Lions pregame show brought to you by Swiss Insurance.
Screw you, Rams.
Until next season, see you guys later.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.